the countdown has started and he's ready to blow. He's got the dope sounds bumping and his stereo. Yo, that's fast, putting on a show. Don't wanna get yourself together, there's no time to rest. And if you put the time in, he'll put you to the test. He's like a running man, in his world more is less. And if you wanna test him, best bring your best. Don't make me spell it out, bring your best. In this world where life is strong, in this world life's an open book. In this world where compromise does not exist. In his world of rules, every step meets the rest. In this world where one is all. In this world never fear the fall. In this world where compromise does not exist. His world of wounds, every step meets the rest. Running it back again, well, what'd you expect? Coming up to win 10 out of 10. Got a real rough back. Spikes up his liberty and straps on his shoes. Cause he's the best there ever was, haven't you heard the news? Intergalactic continental champ, running things. Hyperactive, instrumental in pulling strings. He is the one who understands when the tides will swing. So he's breaking down doors, never far away. Come on and psych yourself up, cause it's time to play. Bounce to the beats and the rhymes, cause they're here to stay. The one and only marathon man, living the day. Moving up, coming fast, and they'll blow you away. Because the pressures of this world, they can take their toll. And it's tough to get away when they take a hold. The only way to break free is to break the mold. You can't stop now, rock and load. Don't stop now, come on, rock and roll. In this world, gotta make your own where life is strong. In this world, life is just a game you play. Life's an open book. In this world, where compromise does not exist. His world of wounds, every step meets the rest. In this world, gotta make your own where one is all. In this world, life is just a game you play. Never fear the fall. In this world, where compromise does not exist. His world of wounds, every step meets the rest. Like the fuse on his rocket and he's ready to go. Cause now the countdown has started and he's ready to blow. Intergalactic continental champ, running things. Hyperactive, instrumental in pulling strings. The only way to break free is to break the mold. You can't stop now, rock and roll. I said you can't stop now, rock and roll. Don't stop now, come on and rock and roll.
Yeah, I had to let that play out. That song's so good. The T Hanos with the his world playing in the background is tough, man. But hold on, get off the screen. It's starting to make me dizzy. We're here for God. I gotta start making like separate scenes for all of these. I'm here, I promise. So we can do the whoop death battle, and the last one we are on is Samurai Jack versus Afro Samurai. So last time we started Season 5, and
among the soldiers of history,
there's some
the
pretty good
samurai
ones.
is one of the most prestigious and dangerous.
Get ready for this one.
To the death.
Samurai
boy.
Jack, the warrior prince
Oh, yeah,
lost in time.
And Afro Samurai, who's one cold-blooded mother effer. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze
So
their
hello,
weapons,
welcome.
armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Long ago, in a distant land, Aku, the shape-shifting master of darkness, unleashed an unspeakable evil.
But a foolish samurai warrior wielding a
never
magic
seen
sword
Samurai
stepped forth
Jack,
to
although I have
oppose
heard
me.
it is
I
very
mean him.
good.
And that
I know people
nameless
like it a
samurai
lot.
became known as
It's just a
Jack.
little before my
Jack
time.
was out.
Jack.
Yo, Jack was.
Jack.
Doesn't really strike fear into your enemies.
Young Jack was the son of a Japanese emperor who had imprisoned Aku years before. However, upon Aku's return, the emperor and his army were quickly defeated. The last of all hope remained in the hands of his son.
Oh, look how small he is. Well, to prep for beating the snot out of Aku, little Jack traveled the world
75?
training with the best of the best.
Most notably, he learned horseback riding from a sheikh, staff fighting in Africa, wrestling from gladiators, axe throwing from a Russian boyar, mounted combat from the Mongols, martial arts from Shaolin monks, and
And archery from freaking Robin Hood. You know, everyone's favorite talking fox. Ooh, da lolly.
wrong Robin Hood.
That's your opinion.
Jack's progress was exceptional. At just 8 years old, he defended a whole village from a band of marauders.
All before he could even legally drink the good stuff. 17 years later, he was ready for the final boss. He just needed one more thing.
This show's
His
made by the same
pajamas.
people who
No, his
made
katana.
Dexter's
Katana,
Lab.
pajama, tomato, Alfredo. It's all the same.
Yeah,
But
it's
before
quite the
Jack could put his
departure
training
in
to good
tone.
use, Aku pulled a bitch move and zapped him
But
hundreds
yeah,
of
I
years
love
into the
the
future.
style.
What a waste. Just like when you spend 4 sleepless years
Lots of
struggling through
simple
college,
shapes.
and then find out too late that nobody cares about your English major.
It's still
I thought
very
you
cool.
graduated from the School of Evil Science or something.
Well, you still have to pick a major.
Should have chose a more practical one.
Also
Wiz,
more
like
lore.
mine. Anyway, even though he was trapped in the future, Jack stuck to his mission to get back to the past and take down Aku. And he had the right weapon for the job.
See, Aku cannot be harmed by conventional means. Thus, a special blade was forged by gods from Norse, Egyptian, and Hindu pantheons. This mystic sword is nearly unbreakable and absolutely incorruptible.
And boy, is Jack's
Tremendous
katana an
horse
extremely
cut
effective
technique.
weapon.
It can absorb and redirect energy, including fire, vaporize beings of evil, and slice through nearly any substance, even adamantium.
The Wolverine super metal? Why is that there?
Probably just coincidental naming, but it is shown to be stronger than steel.
Of course it is. So the sword's pretty awesome, but so is Jack. He's strong enough to push over this giant pillar, tough enough to survive a fall from orbit,
What?
and fast enough to defeat 6 bounty hunters in the time it took for 1 drop of water to hit the ground. By timing the drop, all this had to have taken place in about 1/3 of a second. He's like a ninja samurai.
Jeez.
Ninja Mirai.
Actually, he is trained in ninjutsu, which probably helped when he was forced to dodge beams of sunlight. For this one in particular, it's clear Jack began dodging after the beam
Man, they
was
really
fired.
don't make,
By
like,
examining both Jack and the
Western
beam's movement frame by
cartoons
frame,
that are
we've
action
concluded his
focused
highest
like
reaction
this
speeds must be
anymore.
nearly
Not for
70%
kids,
the speed
at
of light.
least.
Damn, that's fast. What can he do? Next thing you'll tell me he has the power to fly or something.
Well, Jack can't fly, but he did learn how to.
Jump good.
Yes, that. By strapping a giant boulder on his back, which compared to his height we can determine to weigh 39 tons, Jack learned how to leap high enough to clear these trees.
Crouching
at
tiger,
him
hidden
go.
samurai. These trees are pretty big, and this jungle has a bunch of these ugly baboons running around. And if I were a betting man, which I am, I'd say that this is the African rainforest, where the average tree is about 130 feet tall. Tips on Jack from my basketball team. Guy's got hops.
We haven't even mentioned the time he survived several exploding missiles with his friend, the Scotsman.
Why does he look so familiar? Well, I like him.
With so much talent, it was only a matter of time until Jack found his way home and defeated Aku once and for all. But it took a lot longer than it probably should have. 50 years, in fact.
Yeah, good thing time travel makes you stop aging for some reason. But Jack's a good-hearted soul, like a Boy Scout who hasn't discovered Twitter yet.
He can be pretty gullible when it comes to more devious opponents. Also, he continues to prolong his lonely journey over and over just because he frequently puts the needs of others before his own. Still, the forces of evil should watch out for Samurai Jack.
Who else wants some?
The stories that
An
surround
Afro
the two
samurai I only
secret
know
headbands
through
are as many as the men who died in
reputation.
their pursuit.
What's so
And the,
special
like,
about
one
some
video
strips
game
of
it
head
had.
cloth?
Legend says they were created by the gods, or they can grant the wearer supernatural powers.
And
But
apparently
in
the
truth,
one video
the
game is
headbands only
2
bring
video
pain
games. I
and
know one of the
loss.
video games is very,
Such was
very
the
bad,
case with Afro
apparently.
Samurai.
Wait, did his parents really call him Afro? Talk about setting big expectations.
Well, no, it's a nickname, but even if they did, have you seen his dad? I think they knew what to expect.
Damn, just look at it. Oh, and hey look, he's got the #1 headband.
Here's how this works. The person who wears
Yeah,
the
I-
number one
I think
headband
that's
is
how
said
I
to
know of
rule
it,
the
too.
world. And the only
The
person
Super
who can
Best Friends
challenge the number
playthrough.
one is whoever possesses the number 2. In contrast, anybody can challenge the owner of the number 2 for the right to wear that headband, and thus gain the right to challenge the number 1.
So, like, you just work your way up so that only one guy in the world can challenge you? So where do I get one of these headbands? Then no one will mess with me.
Actually, the opposite would probably happen, which young Afro witnessed firsthand when some freak named Justice showed up with the number 2 and killed his father right in front of him.
Why does this always happen? You know, I always thought parenting was the hardest thing about being a dad, but at this point, I think it's just actually staying alive if your kid's ever gonna do anything great. Or just sticking around for them.
Despite knowing that he was effectively creating a future challenger, Justice left Afro alone to mourn his loss.
So, of course, Afro swore revenge and started learning swordsmanship under a swordmaster named Swordmaster. Who the hell is naming these people?
Through Swordmaster's training of sword mastery, Afro learned the traditional samurai fighting styles of Kenjutsu and Kendo.
Kenjutsu is all about how to kill an opponent as fast as possible, while Kendo is more about discipline and being zen and stuff. Naturally, Afro preferred the more
sort of.
kick-ass one.
Right, Swordmaster's
Sure,
goal
we'll go
was to
with that.
refine Afro's body and mind, instilling upon him a sense of honor, or Bushido. But that didn't quite mesh with Afro's thirst for vengeance.
So when he found out that Swordmaster had the number 2 headband all along, he knew what he had to do. And now he could take down the guy who killed his dad.
Alongside his new friend, slash burden, Ninja.
Oh, come the f*** on! Where'd this guy come from?
Now don't we look like shit? How you been, man?
Well, it's not entirely clear. He's there, but at the same time, not there. Ninja is believed to be the guardian of the number 2 headband, but all he ever really does is talk, and talk some more.
He got arrows and grenades and shit. You ain't got no chance, dude.
Though it's also possible Ninja is simply a figment of Afro's mind, brought about by psychological stress.
Ninja
You know, I
Sword.
have an imaginary friend.
Aren't you a little old for that?
Not for Al Gundy. He's a gun who also talks to me. He tells me to do stuff.
More lore.
Okay. Anyway, to be honest, calling Afro a samurai
We're gonna
is a
get
bit
lots
misleading.
of lore
He's
this
actually
half
more
of the
akin
season.
to a ronin, a samurai with no master. And so, with his swordsmanship perfected, Afro wandered the world searching for justice, carrying an arsenal fit for revenge.
Including his father's sword. This super long blade has lasted through decades of battle without much issue. Perfect for kicking some ass.
He also has a steel comb, which can be a surprisingly effective offensive and defensive tool.
And since he doesn't care about that honor BS, he's not afraid to play dirty by attacking with his sandals.
But while on the road to justice, Afro's number 2 headband attracted all manner of dangerous enemies. Luckily, he's more than capable of dealing with each and every one of them.
He's strong enough to cut other swords in half, throw his sheath through another guy's throat, and even tear off metal arms.
Pretty impressive, as many modern metals have tensile strength as high as 80,000 pounds per square inch.
Afro is fast enough to cut bullets out of thin air, and even a laser beam.
I should note that it's not a plasma-based beam. It bounces off reflective surfaces, doesn't explode upon contact, and it's literally labeled a laser. This means Afro blocked a beam that moved as fast as light, more than 670 million miles per hour.
Get this, that laser beam came from a robot version of Afro. Talk about metal! This Afro droid could easily smash up a car, and our boy Afro just tore it apart.
It actually
He
is very
survived
good
getting
for
hit
like
by
illustrating
rockets,
motion,
including this
especially
RPG
in
that
like a
fragmented
manga.
giant cliff face.
RPG in a backpack?
I think I smell math coming.
This tree nearby is most likely a Japanese mountain ash, which can sometimes grow as high as 30 feet. With that in mind, we compared its height to the fragmentation created by the explosion, and compared the resulting surface area to the shear force for granite. With this, we deduced the RPG's highest possible explosive yield must be around 72 tons of TNT.
Damn, what kind of mega rocket launcher are these guys packing? And where do I get it?
Many stood in his way, and Afro didn't get through them all unscathed.
But by the end, he cut down justice, took his revenge in hand, and proved to the world that Afro Samurai is #1.
Why
Yeah.
you gotta kill all my men? Why you gotta kill me?
Nothing personal. It's just revenge.
This is one of those like kind of niche, like
All right, the combatants are
early
set. Let's end this
2010s
debate once and for
anime
all.
things.
But first, looking at
But
these
it does
swords
seem
makes
really
me want to
cool.
sharpen my knives for my blue apron meal tonight.
By now,
Blue apron, blue apron, blue apron, blue apron, blue
Emails
apron, blue
battle.
apron, blue apron, blue apron. Oh yeah, so this fight. I want you to keep in mind while watching that this was all animated by one person. There's also our second, like, hand animated fight.
Your sword smells of blood.
So does yours.
You jump good. Oh, thank you?
So good. Yeah, I love how the art style, it's not like exact to either series, it's closer to Samurai Jack, but it works really well for both of them. Hell yeah. And he took the headband. Yes, this fight's so
like,
good.
Is he gonna get his arm back, or?
Afro was an exceptional warrior, and his skills would absolutely dominate most.
But yeah, that was all.
However, Jack has had a
So,
lot of
while
experience with
discussing this,
opponents who fight
apparently
dirty,
the story
and Afro
goes,
could
while
not
discussing
stand up
this
to his
fight,
physical superiority.
Yeah,
this
Afro
one of
never
one of
showed
their
strength like
animators,
how Jack lifted
this
that
guy
39-ton
Luis,
boulder.
Jack could react as fast as 70%
they were
the speed of
a
light.
bit drunk,
Afro
and
did
he
block
said
that
like,
light-speed
"Hey,
laser beam,
what if I
but based
just
on the
hand
distance between him
animate
and
this
the
entire
Afro
fight
droid,
by
he only needed to
myself?"
react
And then he
around
did,
21% the
and
speed
it
of
was
light to do this,
really
still putting him
cool.
at impressive relativistic speeds, but not even half as quick as Jack.
Also, while Afro survived that mega-sized RPG explosion, don't forget how Jack survived a fall from orbit.
While it does seem the spacesuit was responsible for Jack's surviving re-entry, it certainly can't be held solely accountable for the final impact. Starting his descent from the Kármán line, or the boundary between Earth's atmosphere and space, Jack covered a distance of 62 miles in just under 7 seconds, moving well over terminal velocity.
Thanks to being propelled by exploding space speed.
Which means his top velocity was approximately 37,000 miles per hour. Adding the spacesuit's weight to his own, this means his impact force must have equaled about 19 megatons of force. Way more than anything Afro survived.
And then he just got up and walked away. Badass. In the end, Jack was just too fast, too strong, too tough, and too well trained for Afro to...
Yeah, like
The
a
winner is Samurai Jack.
could definitely see that.
Thanks for watching. If you guys want exclusive commentary on the episode, just click that little box right over there.
And if you want the battle music from this episode, you can get it by clicking the link in the
When's
description.
the next time? Yeah, Newgrounds animation, endearing versus Newgrounds animation derogatory. Oh yeah, content warning for the next episode. These two characters are very violent. Yeah, and it's another character from a slightly obscure anime. Elfenlied. This was mainly done because at the time, Carnage had been a highly requested character for Death Battle, and they were just looking for
Elfenlied.
some sort of like good matchup for
And
him.
it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would
And
win a death battle.
They came up with Lucy, because his other
Cletus
suggestions
Cassidy
were stuff
didn't have
like
the chance to be a well-adjusted adult,
like Darth
because
Maul
his
was
entire
one,
family was already
because
crazy.
they're both
While
evil
Cletus was just
and
a boy,
red.
His father got sent to jail for killing his
But
mother.
that was about
Which
it.
he did because she had tried to kill Cletus.
Which she did because Cletus had tortured and killed her dog Fifi.
Well, go Miss Cassidy. All dog murderers deserve death, even if they're 8. Right, Jack Spaniels? Good boy. Oh,
Age
and,
non-applicable.
Cletus murdered
He
his
doesn't
grandma, too,
age.
because she's kind of a bitch.
He didn't stop there and wound up burning down his own orphanage. Years later, he was finally arrested and convicted for 11 murders.
You
Age
mean
card.
the 11 murders they knew about?
But while in prison, Cletus found that he wasn't alone. In fact, his cellmate just so happened to be Eddie Brock.
Who you may know is that creepy guy covered in black ink called Venom.
That ink is actually a symbiotic alien known as a Clintar. This symbiote bonded with Eddie, transforming him into a powerful and violent rival for the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
But what Eddie didn't know was it was pregnant. Oh, time to go out for cigarettes, Eddie.
Well, symbiotes
Venom
actually
versus
reproduce
Bendy. Is
asexually.
this
When
anything?
Eddie became Venom once again, the symbiote
They
sort
did a
of
DBX of
oozed out its
Cuphead
spawn
versus
and left
Bendy,
Just like me
which
and
is
my
actually
dad.
really,
Well,
really
this new
good
symbiote
because it is
immediately
also
attached
hand
itself to
animated,
Cletus,
like in
but
the
unlike
style
the Venom one, it merged through a cut on
like
his skin,
the
creating
old
this soup
cartoonish
made out
look.
of blood. Ew, that doesn't seem sanitary.
And together they became Carnage.
A fitting name for a psycho mass murderer. Cletus and his new symbiote quickly got up to what they knew best, creating maximum carnage. For that game, it was great.
And with his new superpowers, he was a vicious force to be reckoned with. He has the same superhuman strength, speed, and durability as Venom, and supposedly even greater, like a Venom 2.0.
He can shapeshift to make all sorts of killer weapons, like axes, swords, and spikes. He can even rip those weapons off himself or launch them at his victims. Have you ever tried ripping your fingers off and throwing them at people? Because that's just kind of what Carnage does.
The symbiote can also
Wait, was
reach
that
out with
Batman?
dozens of
Why was
chaotic
Batman
blood-soaked
there?
tendrils, perfect for strangling the people he doesn't want to see anymore. With a single touch, Carnage can infect a person with a portion of his symbiote. controlling or torturing them at his leisure. He has
Maximilian
unbelievable
Carnage.
regeneration, and even if somebody finds a way to disable his suit, the Carnage symbiote lives inside his bloodstream and can come back out through something as meager as a paper cut.
Also, the symbiote literally sees everything around it. It's kind of like wearing a suit made of eyeballs.
But let's say you're able to dodge his projectiles, outrun the
I
tentacles, and get out of sight
lied.
from the eyeball suit. You're still not safe.
Elfin
He will catch you
lied.
because he can sprout wings and fly.
Why does he have?
What the hell? Since when?
Why Carnage
Since
have
realizing
boobs
that
in that
shapeshifting
shot?
is a really, really useful ability.
I assume that's
So he's
Carnage
able to
bonded
fly,
with a
he's totally
different
aware of
host.
everything around him, and he's full of blood? This guy's like a giant mosquito of death.
Sure. Carnage has said he's at least
Yeah, there's
10
Batman
times
again.
faster than the average man. But that's pretty modest, because Venom has shown he can move fast enough to catch up to a bullet after it's fired. And Carnage is frequently shown to be as fast or even faster than him. This puts Carnage over 1,500 miles per hour, over twice the speed of sound.
He's lifted a 50-ton tank, and he can overpower Spider-Man, whose best supported strength feat was lifting that giant machine thing that weighed as much as a 1965 locomotive.
Which would put it around 130 tons.
And you know those weird tendril things crawling around his body? When he wanted to find a missing journalist in New York, he climbed to the top of the Empire State Building and just stretched them all out over the city.
He found her by this coastline, and this building nearby looks a lot like the consolidated Edison plant between 14th and 15th Street. That's about 2 miles away.
And
I
as
love
a
how
thank you for saving her,
Marvel just has
she shot
actual
Carnage
ass
in the
New
head.
York.
Well, fine. Save your own ass next time, lady.
He was fine. Carnage's durability doesn't come from a sturdy build. Instead,
teleport
his
himself
form
through
is
the
malleable
internet?
and
Is that what that
somewhat
corner
fluid.
box
Technically,
said?
his human body still exists somewhere in that mass of blood, flesh, and writhing tentacles, but even when he's hit by a train, struck by missiles, or blasted apart by a tritium bomb, he can always just pull himself back together.
So long as there's a piece of him still around. Given the size of that blast, it looks like Carnage survived a blast worth 125 tons of TNT.
Very impressive. Also, he once smothered and survived a gene bomb designed to wipe out all of humanity except mutants.
He's even survived being ripped in half and thrown into space. Seriously, what kills this guy?
Well, he does share the same weaknesses as other symbiotes, namely extremely loud noises and heat.
Well, until he traded the sound one for a weakness against some Cthulhu-looking magic.
Carnage has been through a lot, but with two minds as one, he always gets back up to keep doing what he loves.
Murder, murder, and, you know, more murder.
Carnage is one of those characters. He's not really that deep, but he's also just kind of cool.
There are some mysteries the world holds,
And this is
which
where the
no
content
one is
warning
meant
part
to
comes
know.
in.
Every day,
Violence,
something,
and maybe a
somewhere
boob or
comes
two.
ever closer to destroying everything you hold dear. One such secret is the Dicloni.
I mean, nothing
No
that can't
big
be shown
deal.
on
They're just a
YouTube,
race
but
of crazy people who want to infect human beings to make more Dicloni and then wipe out all of humanity. Oh, look at the cute little horns. They look like kitty ears.
To accomplish this, the Dicloni would have to rely on their queen, Kaede, better known as Lucy.
Luckily for everyone, some
Kaede?
important people figured this out and captured
that's
her. And now it's
Kaede's
time
lie,
for your
isn't
only
it?
warning.
Right, Lucy's methods, let's just say
Boob.
they're not for the faint of heart.
And let's also say that those lucky important people were about to get very, very unlucky. Jesus Christ, what's happening?
To truly understand, let's take a step back. As an infant, Lucy was abandoned by her parents and left alone to suffer a life of constant
Splatoon.
discrimination.
It
So
was the hordes,
true.
wasn't it?
Right, even the average kid hates growing up in an orphanage, but it was especially painful for her.
Until she found a stray puppy and decided to take care of it. That adorable little critter and her became best friends. And then the other kids from the orphanage went out and beat it to death and forced her to watch.
what the fuck?
Well, no shit, she wants to kill everyone. Go ahead, Lucy. Tear up those little bastards. Oh! Damn!
This was the first time Lucy unleashed her psychokinetic vectors. As a Diclonius queen, Lucy is meant to use these vectors to infect ordinary human beings with the Diclonius virus.
Oh, but she uses them for so much more.
For simplicity's sake, think of the vectors as invisible arms which can sprout from Lucy's back.
Lucy can use up to 28 vectors with a normal range of about 6 to 7 feet. When she gets really serious, her horns grow and the vectors get way longer and stronger.
She can vibrate her vectors at different frequencies, and each level of vibration has different effects.
Kinda like that thing that my ex-wife had on the nightstand that I thought was one of those crazy pens.
At low
Content
frequencies,
warning.
her vectors can pass through objects with no effect. At a medium frequency, the vectors become solid, like extendable hands, while still completely invisible. These can be used as shields and lift heavy objects.
Oh man, if I had those things, I'd be messing with people all the time, like tying their shoes from across the
These
room.
fucking kids are so
Also,
shitty.
since this seems to be a thing in this episode, she can fly.
It's not really flying, she's just lifting herself off the ground. With the third frequency, Lucy turns her vectors into invisible blades. These can
It's like
cut
that
through
thing they
people
do in
and
JoJo,
bend metal.
where
And
you
with the
stand
last and highest
frozen in
frequency,
midair.
Lucy gets explosive. No, really, at this level, they finally become visible and can strike with enough force to detonate. Damn, they don't call this chick the queen for nothing.
Unfortunately, Lucy is not always in control of what she does. Turns out she has developed several alternate personalities.
Yeah, getting shot in the head can do that to you.
That injury specifically created New, a passive, almost childlike persona which exists as a coping mechanism for Lucy's trauma. As New, Lucy would finally find friends and began forging a path toward hopeless redemption.
Unlike her third personality, the so-called DNA voice, which constantly whispers in her ear that she's got a job to do. Kill them all, Lucy, before they hurt more puppies. Ooh, I'm spooky DNA.
She could do it too. Lucy's fast enough to block bullets from a point-blank range. And once, she actually saved herself from a bullet after she had already been shot. As in, while the bullet was traveling between her skin and her heart.
It looks like she's getting
Damn.
shot by an MP5, which fires bullets at nearly 900 miles per hour.
With her body type, the distance between Lucy's skin and heart is less than an inch, probably around 2.4 centimeters. Given the bullet speed and the distance her vector would have to reach from her back before the bullet hit her heart, her vector had to move nearly 1,900 miles per hour. That's over twice the speed of sound.
She can throw a pen through a guy's skull. Brutal. And even tossed this giant boulder.
When compared to this guy, Bando, whom we know is 6 feet tall, we can determine the boulder weighs about 75 tons. Her vectors are also tough enough to block a missile from the Air Force. While the exact model of missile is unspecified,
She
it is
can
fairly
even
large
lift
and likely
this
an
rock.
air-to-surface type.
I bet it's one of the Air Force's SLAMs, or standoff land attack missile, built off the back of the Navy's Harpoon missile. In fact, a harpoon is used against a different Diclonius at one point.
Oh my
So
God.
this beast slammed into her vector at 500 miles per hour with a 1,000-pound explosive yield. And it didn't even phase
Killed
her.
over
Even without a vector
9,000
shield, she survived a
people.
pretty nasty explosion herself, though it did knock her out.
Impressive, but how about the time she punched through an island? A strike literally compared to nuclear fusion. This kicked up a 100-foot tidal wave and a 9.2 magnitude earthquake. A level so high, there's only been 4 comparable quakes ever recorded.
Her vectors can be as wide as buildings and reach into outer space, except that's about when Lucy reaches her limit.
Right, as a Diclonius, Lucy has a few severe weaknesses. Her vectors can be nullified if she's struck in the forehead, or if one of her horns are broken.
Also, if Lucy pushes herself too hard, she starts to melt. Kinda like ice cream out in the Texas sun.
Ew.
It's not pretty. She's just a big puddle of goop with a face, but she's still a total badass, even at her meltiest.
While suffering agonizing pain, she was capable of single-handedly halting a massive military threat, while healing and protecting the person she loved most. Perhaps redemption wasn't so hopeless after all.
Hey, let's watch her kill some more people.
Yeah.
All right, the combatants are set. Let's end this debate once and for all.
But first, you'd be crazy.
Hey,
not to
yeah, hey,
get in
doesn't
on
all this make
deal.
you hungry for some Blue Apron? Mmm.
That's right now.
Alright, fight time. I think this is also when they, like, even in, like, sprite-based episodes, start intercutting hand-drawn shots into them. Looks really cool. Especially for more fluid characters like these.
Die.
Not yet.
Oh my god.
It's raining. You're bleeding. Carnage is starving.
Get back!
Bet you're right.
Does it hurt yet? Don't worry. I'll put you out of your misery.
This one's
First
okay.
those kids at the orphanage, then Cletus. Lucy really hates dog killers, and
It's
for
like-
good reason.
Carnage
not
was a
bad,
challenging opponent.
but it's just,
it was
like,
incredibly difficult for
compared
Lucy
to,
to
like,
deal
what
any
we've
lasting damage against
seen,
it.
He had the durability advantage
it's
in the
eh.
bag, though Lucy fighting as a puddle proved she could take a
like,
lot
given
of
the
pain
nature of
and
these
keep on
characters, the
fighting.
choreography's
Sadly,
not
Carnage
much.
came up
The
short
parts
in
where it
pretty much
is
everything
sprites, the
All right,
animation's a
Carnage
little
was
stiff.
tough, but not invincible. Even his surviving that gene bomb isn't quite as impressive as it sounds, since he had no other feats to even remotely back up planetary-level durability, and the bomb was more akin to a biological weapon anyway. While Carnage's tendrils could pass speeds of Mach
It's
2,
fine.
Lucy's vectors once reached into outer space. By timing her accompanying
The hand-drawn
monologue
stuff
and
looks
comparing
good,
the
though.
longest vector's length to the curvature of the Earth, it's clear she reached over 2,400 miles in 20 seconds max.
Way longer
Yeah.
than Carnage's 2-mile feet.
All this means her vectors were moving
Yeah,
at least
they-
440,000 miles per hour.
If they had, like, if
More
this was
than
done a bit
500 times
later,
the
they had a
speed
bit
of
more
sound,
budget,
and
they probably could have
250
done
times
more with,
faster
like,
than
Carnage's
Good
shape-shifting.
luck getting past that. And this was really
Yeah.
the biggest hurdle. With Lucy's redonkulous speed and Carnage's healing powers, it all boiled down to one thing. Who could hit the killing blow first? I mean, Carnage could respawn from scraps, so the only way to beat him for good was to totally vaporize him.
And Lucy had the perfect answer to that. Remember that time she hit an island so hard she caused a 9.2 magnitude earthquake and a 100-foot tall tidal wave? Such a feat would require an enormous amount of explosive energy, approximately 31,000 tons of TNT, similar to the bomb that hit Hiroshima.
It's literally compared to nuclear fusion in the Elfen Lied manga.
Elfen Lied, it's German.
The point is, in order to beat Carnage for good, Lucy needed to totally obliterate him, and she could do that.
The heat produced within the initial impact of a nuclear explosion can reach temperatures up to 180,000 degrees Fahrenheit,
She
more
nuked
than
him with
18
a
times
big
hotter than the
invisible
surface of
hand.
the sun. And to top it off, heat was Carnage's biggest weakness. Even if Lucy's explosive force was just a fraction of this, it would still have been far too much for him.
She just needed to smack him before he could power through her vectors, which chances were pretty slim for that happening anyway, because there's a bunch of them and they're so damn fast. Hitting Carnage with a big explosion punch was way easier.
Cletus and his symbiote may have had the endurance, but Lucy's space-worthy speed, overwhelming presence, and nuclear strength won the day.
She dealt the carnage needed for a total victory and took the lead. There, I said it right, Wiz. Happy?
The winner is Lucy.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the fight, you can get a first membership and watch our commentary by clicking that box over there.
Thank you, Chad. And if you want the battle music from this episode, you can get it in the link in the description below. You're not Chad.
Oh. This one's good. Optimus Prime versus Gundam. Now, I have a friend. You know him too. It's Zach, who's not too fond of this matchup
people, it is the clash of opinions
because he's a big mecha fan.
However, there is one universal truth,
but he's
which
wrong.
Absolutely
This fight
can agree.
Giant robots are freaking awesome, like Optimus Prime, the original G1 Transformer,
and the RX-78-2, the original Mobile Suit Gundam.
These aren't just any robots, they're the old school classics, the first of their kind, and we're in for a robo battle of East versus West.
Well, Optimus was originally a Japanese.
Yeah.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
Their
and
records
it's our
with
job to analyze
these
their
sorts
weapons,
of fights
armor,
have
and
been
skills
good.
to find out who will
And
win.
They generally do like robots better than more realistic looking humans.
Millions of years ago,
it's just
on a distant
easier for
planet
them
called
to animate.
Cybertron, a great unrest grew between two factions of robotic beings, the Decepticons and the Autobots. With little warning, they found themselves entangled in civil war.
Led by that douchebag Megatron, the Decepticons started gunning down any bot they pleased for basically no reason, including some guy named Orion Pax, which will be important later. Rest in peace, Robro.
What Megatron didn't know was that this seemingly random encounter would end up reshaping the universe.
Thanks to a robot Gandalf, Orion Pax was rebuilt into something bigger, stronger, and way more recognizable.
The newest commander of the Autobots had risen, Optimus Prime.
The Autobots will never sacrifice freedom.
Man,
Optimus is a
so
powerful
cool.
warrior with tons of awesome robo powers.
As a transformer, he can scan nearby objects and morph his body to resemble one.
Dislikes
becoming a
Motley
robot
Crue?
in disguise.
Oh, come on, man.
His favorite is
What
a
a
classic
buzzkill.
1979 Kenworth K100 tractor. An oldie but a goodie which sports 500 horsepower and can book it over 80 miles per hour. He even gets a trailer which,
He has
when he
died
doesn't need
26
it,
times.
mysteriously disappears
Yeah,
into
well,
thin
he's
air.
still alive after
Really,
all
where
of
the hell
that,
does
so I
thing
mean,
go?
that is pretty
I
impressive.
need to know.
More importantly, the life force of every Transformer resides in their spark, sort of like a soul. And Optimus is no different, except that his spark gives him a few unique abilities.
Yeah, his spark's pretty rare. Compared to other robo people, it gives him increased strength, speed, and durability. He can
course it
shoot
does.
laser beams from his hands, fly with either a jetpack or his feet boosters, and move his limbs around while they're detached like some sort of ghost robot Rayman. Ooh!
Optimus is referred to as a 0.1%er. That is how rare a being of his caliber is.
Is that what all those people on Wall Street were protesting?
Even then, many of Optimus's abilities are further enhanced thanks to his possession of one of the most powerful artifacts in Cybertron's history, the Matrix of Leadership.
Oh, yeah, you know, it's nothing much. It's just a piece of robot god.
The Matrix is a conduit for the power of
Oh,
Primus,
look at that.
the creator of the Transformer
Old
race.
comics
With this, Optimus
technology.
can heal some of his most grievous wounds.
What? Not all the time. Like, you know, when he died.
And use the power of the Matrix to light our darkest hour.
Well, he has an impressive arsenal to hopefully keep that particular problem from coming up again.
Yeah, never again. Regardless, he wields the Ion Blaster, a giant death cannon which Prime one-hands like a boss. This big ol' rifle
just has
fires
a gun.
bolts of energy strong enough to take down most Decepticons, and can even be fired into space from ground level. Even better, it never seems to run out of ammo. One can only dream.
Optimus Prime also carries numerous weapons composed of Energon, a raw energy force used by Transformers to power their technology and, well, themselves.
He's got a glowy Energon axe and Energon swords, perfect for slicing up robots of all sizes. And I guess they'd probably work pretty good on people, too.
Fighting fire with fire, Optimus Prime led the fight against the Decepticons for several millennia. Eventually, the war even found its way to our
Let's follow his way
Earth.
to the Cybertronian Senate using the corpse of his friend's spring arm as a weapon.
He's tanked
Jeez.
blasts that would tear other bots apart, like when this mega refinery exploded. It could be seen from outer space. He's punched the ground so hard, the trees around him freaking exploded.
Child's play, Boomstick. He's strong enough to tip this large oil tanker, which, when compared to the real-life Sea-Wise giant, must weigh over 700,000 tons.
Dead.
He's tossed a satellite into orbit and punched hard enough to
small
crack
island
6
level.
shots chest plate.
Who boasted that his armor was drawn from the compacted subatomic matter of a collapsed star. Just to let you know, such a star would have a density of over 300 billion tons per cubic inch. While great density doesn't necessarily beget great toughness, this still means Six Shot's armor was 500 billion times more dense than osmium, the most dense natural material on Earth.
You're the most dense natural material on Earth.
What'd you say?
And our Robo-Commander wrecked it.
I like
He's
that
fast enough
joke.
to catch
That's
up
a
to this
good bit.
Decepticon space shuttle in just
You're the
23
most
seconds.
dense natural
Given the
material on
size
Earth.
of the Earth here and the angle of ascent, we can determine he's moving around 125,000 miles per hour. He's also a talented leader, capable of commanding 1,000 battles at the same time via the Omniglobe.
Like Skynet, but in a giant disco ball. He's used that crazy strength of his to punch through Megatron, who once tanked an explosion big enough to knock Cybertron out
He
of
lifted
orbit.
the
And thanks to
Washington
the weird
Monument?
robo-magic of the Matrix, he's even defeated
Man,
Unicorn.
I
Unicron.
Who's
forget
basically a giant
all the
robot
shit
Satan who
that
eats
they put in
planets.
these episodes.
This guy is unstoppable.
Not necessarily. Optimus is certainly powerful, but after all is said and done, he has one major weakness.
To violate that law would destroy our honor.
He's just too nice.
Yeah, he's kinda all about the whole honor and fair fighting thing, which kinda screwed him over more than once, and even gotten him killed multiple times. Plus, he killed himself once just because he accidentally broke the rules in a frickin' game. Damn.
He broke
But when
his own
back
rules
is
by
to the wall and
sacrificing
all hell's
NPCs to
breaking loose,
defeat
he'll
Megatron
fight to
in
the
the
end,
game.
riding the eye of the storm.
One shall stand, one shall fall.
In the year 2179, humanity has embraced the stars.
Well, mostly.
Right. After a somewhat united humanity expanded across the solar system, the ideologies between those on Earth and those in space began to drift apart. A new space-noid republic, the Principality of Xeon, arose to challenge the Earth Federation.
Space Noid? That like the Domino's pizza mascot, but in space?
No, more like space Nazis.
Oh, well, I guess it's no surprise that they started a war by gassing
Damn.
a populated space colony
Happy
and
Road,
dropping the
not
whole thing
anymore,
on the
it ain't.
planet. Man, that's messed up. But that's just how it started. For the real star of the show, some smart guys put their heads together and came up with the coolest thing they could think of. Giant fighting robots.
These were mobile suits, and one of Earth's nuttier engineers had developed a suit which would put all others to shame. This was the RX-78-2, otherwise known as the Gundam.
There have been lots of mobile suits named Gundam, but this was the original granddaddy of them all.
This experimental mobile suit was hidden on a remote colony, but before its maiden voyage with the equally classified white
I've
base
always
to
been
begin,
interested in
it was
Gundam
caught
as a
in
series,
surprise Xeon attack.
but man,
With
it's just
two
such
Zaku
a
suits, the space Nazis
such a
wiped out
rabbit
almost
hole that
all
I'm
of the
always
White
like
Base's military crew. The only
hesitant
people left
to
to
go
save
down.
These secret projects were civilians who had no idea these things even existed.
Among those who rose up was a young boy named Amuro Ray. Brilliant, albeit standoffish, Amuro was actually the son of the Gundam's chief engineer. and had
White
already stumbled
Devil?
upon the
Oh,
mech's
that's not a
coded
good nickname.
blueprints.
So he grabbed the owner's manual, jumped in the Gundam, and flew into the fight. Damn, not too shabby for going off just the manual.
Amuro quickly adapted to its complex controls thanks to its learning computer system, designed so the Gundam itself can learn its pilot's limitations and
Mix of
compensate.
levers, buttons,
Its
and
body
pedals
is made
to
of a
command
super
individual
durable Luna
joints.
titanium alloy called Gundarium. Of course.
Yet another fictional metal that's way better than anything in real life.
For weapons, it's got twin 60mm Vulcan guns for ears. It's got a shield that can block shots strong enough to take down warships, and a gravity hammer, a supersized flail that's rocket propelled. Whoever came up with that is my goddamn hero. Same with the guy who built the ultra-destructive beam rifle.
That would be the ingenious Dr. Minovsky. Thanks to him, the beam rifle is a marvelous feat of weapons engineering. Minovsky had developed a way to miniaturize the enormous megaparticle cannons found on warships without losing any power.
The result is a Gundam-sized rifle that can take down entire fleets of ships all on its own. It's like having a pistol with all the power of 1,000 tanks.
A single shot could easily tear through a 13,000-ton Musai-class warship. Given the official stats of this ship, to tear it asunder like so would require a strike worth nearly 9,000 tons of TNT.
Sure, the beam rifle only has 16 shots, but who really cares when you just need one?
Last but not least, the Gundam carries two retractable beam sabers.
Of course it has
Because you can't have
lightsabers.
space battles without royalty-free
Yeah, exactly.
lightsabers.
But all these amazing weapons would be useless without an exceptional pilot. Despite still technically being a civilian, Amuro became the main pilot for the Gundam. Turns out, his skill was mostly thanks to his previously unknown abilities. Amuro was a new type.
Like, Pokemon?
See, apparently humankind was never meant to live under gravity's pull. In space, without it literally weighing down their souls, some humans develop psychic powers.
That is the dumbest backstory for why someone gets powers, and we've heard a lot of them, Wiz. So what, he can like read minds or something?
Sort of. These powers and their capabilities have little definition, often differing between different people. Most new types can instantly understand each other upon contact, even drawing kinship between sworn enemies. Amuro's abilities in particular grant him something akin to precognition. He can predict exactly what will happen on the battlefield and where his enemies will be, and can capitalize on it if he reacts fast enough.
How could he possibly predict I'd attack from the other side?
He shot down targets too fast for the eye to see, and navigated his friends through a collapsing fortress with no casualties. By the end of the war, his own reflexes were pushing the limits of the Gundam itself.
A magnetic coating was added to the Gundam to compensate, reducing the suit's friction and increasing its speed by 27%.
Space
Over
friction.
14 years of military service, Amuro became a legendary pilot. He even learned how to use these super fast funnel guns with his Psycho powers.
Speaking of speed, the Gundam is comparable to the red Zaku piloted by Amuro's rival Char, which is 3 times faster than the standard green model.
During the first large-scale battle with mobile suits, a Zaku flew through the battlefield in 7 seconds.
By comparing the 1,072-foot-long Magellan-class starships in the distance, we can tell the Zaku flew over 7 miles. This puts the standard Zaku's top speed just under Mach 5. When tripled to compare to Char, this means the Gundam can move at least 11,000 miles per hour, 15 times the speed of sound. Highballing it with Amuro's new type powers and magnetic coating, it's possible the Gundam can move as fast as Mach 25. Though anything over that would put it dangerously close to re-entry speeds, which its chassis cannot survive on its own.
The Gundam is strong enough to lift and throw this goofy mobile suit, and tough enough to power through a magnetic field that's 7,200 degrees Fahrenheit. It survived plenty of really big explosions, including a detonating asteroid and a nuclear blast which wrecked Amuro's home colony. I bet it could wipe out the space Nazis all on its own.
It nearly did. Amuro and his Gundam were instrumental to the war effort. It doesn't matter how much the Gundam was burned. It would always stand up, dispel the fear, and fly.
Yeah.
All right, the combatants are set.
And you know
Let's
what
end
I
this
think of
debate
when I
once
think
and for
giant
all.
But
robots?
first, let me transform your eating
Blue
habits.
Apron. Yeah.
Create you and it's time time for a death battle!
Alright, now the best part.
Amuro, come in. Where are you?
I'm checking something out, Sayla. It's more than meets the eye.
Get your butt back to White Base. If there's trouble, we can't send backup.
Let's roll.
It's an enemy motion!
I told you. I told you.
That's too fast! There you are.
Vile Decepticon, I have been in battle for countless eons. Not today.
Only one shot left. I hate gravity. Stop that. I'm just bad.
I must stand, so you shall fall.
So, admittedly,
Got the touch!
the music does a lot of the heavy
The
lifting for
Gundam
me.
was an impressive
In this
machine,
one,
and Amuro was a skilled
the,
pilot, but
Wings of
Optimus's
Iron
millions of years
is
of
the name
battle
of the
experience
song.
completely
And I love it.
overshadowed Amuro's 14.
Them doing like
Also,
a
we already know that Optimus
70s,
was over
80s
6 times
style
faster
rock
and
song
9,000 times
for the
stronger.
Transformer
Holy hell,
battle.
Who knew Optimus
So
was so
good.
freaking buff?
But the
Gundam
animation
had
by itself
plenty
is
of its
also
own
just
advantages. With
incredible.
Amuro's super future sense powers, he can
There's
keep
like
up with
there's a
Optimus's
few
speed.
complaints you
And
could
with
make.
the
They
Gundam's
go on
firepower,
in the
who cares
analysis
how much it could lift?
about
Unfortunately,
Optimus
the Gundam's
being like
limited
this
ammunition
super
meant
nice
this
guy,
couldn't last.
and
even
he's
then,
kind of
Optimus could certainly
bloodthirsty
survive a shot from
in
the
the
B-rifle.
animation, which seems a
Remember that
little out of
refinery
character.
explosion Optimus survived? The one you
Uh,
can see from outer space.
So like it's not
This blast
perfect,
left an enormous gash on the planet Cybertron.
but it's
To
damn
measure the power
good.
of
This,
this
oh, it gets
explosion,
me
we
so
needed to
hyped
compare
every
it to the
time.
curve
I
of the
love
planet.
this one.
Now, Cybertron's size is pretty inconsistent throughout G1 Transformers history, but even when using the alternating sizes between the cartoon and the comics, the blast is far more destructive than the beam rifle in both cases.
And Optimus just walked right out of that bitch. And this isn't some weird outlier just out of the comics either. In the cartoon, Megatron survived a blast that pushed Cybertron out of orbit.
There it goes.
And he's pretty comparable to Optimus.
To be fair, the Gundam boasted some impressive durability feats too.
Like when Amuro accidentally blew up a Zaku's nuclear reactor right in his own face. Hey, give him a break. It was his first time.
This explosion created a hole in the space colony which sucked out Amuro's father.
Whoops. On the bright side, he's gonna save some money on Father's Day gifts, right?
And with his heightened mind, we deduced the scope of the explosion.
It's over 150,000 kilotons of TNT. That's 10,000 times more powerful than the bomb that dropped on Hiroshima, but still nowhere close to the refinery explosion Optimus survived.
Also, the Gundam couldn't dodge Optimus's ion blaster forever. It
The
was fast enough to strike
Nuclear
targets
Quest
in orbit
Super
from
Convoy
ground
toy.
level. That puts its laser speed over 3 million miles per hour.
Even when he knew it was
Transformers
coming,
is
Amuro
cool,
couldn't
but
react quick enough to
at the end
dodge
of
or
the day,
block
it is
anything
just
that
toys,
fast. And even
and
then,
that's very
Optimus's time
funny.
in the Omni-Globe proves he can think way faster than Amuro.
And just to blow your mind even more, in order to obliterate Unicron with the Matrix, the energy output must have equaled more than 40 yotatons of TNT.
Like the Star Wars guy. And you know what they say, size matters not, especially when Optimus has defeated opponents as big as Devastator.
The Gundam was a powerful mobile suit with some astonishing firepower, but was ultimately outmatched by the Autobot's strength, speed, durability, and experience.
I'd say Optimus
Hell
was
yeah.
primed for this fight.
The winner is Optimus Prime.
Yeah, for me,
Thanks
that's a
for watching, guys. If you
contender
wanna see
for
the
like
exclusive commentary on this
best
episode,
of the
just click that little box
season,
over there.
probably.
And if you want the battle music for
I'm not
yourself,
sure
click
if
the link
it's
down below.
my
You can get it
favorite,
off
but
iTunes.
it's
See you
very
next time.
close. Oh yeah, next is an interesting one. They're doing a live action fight. Nightwing versus Daredevil. So let's get to that.
Hey everybody, want to let you know we have an all-new Death Battle tee. If you guys
Hi.
like the way
That's probably not for sale anymore.
In a world where superhumans can fly through the sky or lift buildings over their head, it takes a lot more than a pair of tights for a mere mortal to stand out from the crowd.
But these guys have it covered.
Nightwing, the original protege of
Flesh
Batman.
battle.
And Daredevil,
Yeah, they
Marvel's man
actually
without
kill
fear.
a guy on
He's
camera.
whizzing
It's
a
kind of fucked
boomstick.
up.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. In modern times, the questionable whimsies of the circus are all but dead.
And good riddance, because the world doesn't need any more clowns.
Yet in its heyday, few performances could top the trapeze mastery of the Flying Graysons.
Well, until a mobster cut their cord on life short. Literally.
But they had a son, young yet just as talented as them. Orphaned and alone, all seemed hopeless for Dick Grayson.
Until he scored the coolest foster dad in the friggin' universe, the goddamn Batman.
And under the Cape Crusader, Dick wasn't just a son, he was a sidekick, a superhero. He was Robin. Until he wasn't.
You got knocked the out, man!
Robin spent many, many years kicking bad guys
Former
around the
agent of
back alleys
Spiral,
of Gotham City
the-
with his new
the
dad.
Yu-Gi-Oh
Who could
archetype.
forget the time he crushed Blockbuster under a truck, or when he whipped out that shark repellent? Never leave home without it, kids.
But then Batman suddenly realized, you know what? Bringing kids into battle is actually a bad idea. So he fired him, and then promptly forgot this little revelation.
Only time to update the resume, Batman. Probably for the best, though. I mean, come on. The kid didn't even have a proper pair of pants. What's your problem, Bruce? Whoa! The mouth
Oh, yeah.
on this one.
Hey, did
Actually,
that
it
show
was
ever,
for
like,
the best, though
go
not in the way
anywhere?
Batman
That
hoped.
weird live-action
Inspired by a
Teen
story of an
Titans
ancient
reboot?
Kryptonian superhero, Dick took to the streets by himself with a brand new uniform and a brand new name. From then on, he would be known as Nightwing.
Gotta hand it to Bats. He sure knows how to mold a kid into a criminal-crushing machine. With expertise in taekwondo, ninjutsu, aikido, and a bunch of other styles, Nightwing is one of the finest martial artists in comic book history.
No doubt helped by his world-class acrobatic skills. He is one of only 3 people on Earth who are capable of performing a quadruple flip.
And between the fancy schooling he got at Hudson U and being a founding member of the Teen Titans, he's got brains and brawn, plus a whole lot of weapons.
Nightwing's suit is lightweight, bulletproof, and makes virtually no sound when moving. The blue colors
Ow.
even turn black while in the dark. His mask features a holographic UI complete with night
How
vision
does he
and a spectral
remove
analyzer.
sound
He's
from
rocking
his
utility
suit?
belts on his wrists and ankles full of lockpicks, smoke pellets, and staples that are so strong they can support the weight of a freaking helicopter.
He also carries a rebreather, grapple gun,
Fast.
and wingdings.
Alright.
That weird alien font with all the shapes? Oh, I'll
My
figure
God.
out your secret
WD
one day,
Gaster?
Wingdings.
No, more like the batarangs or thrown shurikens. The standard wingdings are extremely sharp, but he also carries dulled, ultrasonic, and explosive variants.
But let's get to the good stuff, like his 2 screaming sticks
Eskrima sticks.
that are great for beating the shit out of people. And they'll be pretty shocked when they find out Nightwing has wired them with 50,000 volt tasers.
Oh god.
Despite their falling out, Nightwing clearly remains inspired by the gadgets and skills of his baddie mentor, and he's put them to good use.
He's strong enough to punch people through solid walls and smash through a sheet of ice from underwater and hold back the 19,000 pounds per square inch bite force of an orca.
And while breaking a car window doesn't sound impressive, Nightwing's done so while the car was underwater and therefore pressurized. To pull this off, he needed to impact the glass with over 24,000 pounds per square inch.
He's quick enough to dodge point-blank gunfire, skilled enough to leap through the city while blindfolded, and tough enough to survive falling off a building.
Generally, any unsafe landing over
Whoa.
21 feet is guaranteed to break bone.
Ooh.
And Nightwing dropped 140 feet onto his butt, and he was fine. And we've all fallen on our tailbone. That shit sucks.
At one point, Nightwing spent 96 hours patrolling city streets looking for the criminal mastermind Two-Face, and an additional 5 or more hours collecting evidence. A 2010 study on sleep deprivation noted that 72 hours without
Nightwing,
sleep leads
the
to a number
royal
of horrendous
scientist.
side effects, including hallucinations.
But when it was time to leap between blimps hundreds of feet in the air and give Two-Face the beatdown he deserved, you couldn't even tell Nightwing was in desperate need of a nap. And don't forget, he was trained by the #1 detective in the world. He's good enough to solve a kidnapping with a single look at the scene of a crime.
Even more impressive, he once performed a skydive at 930 miles per hour, which took all of 15 minutes. That puts his starting position around 25 miles
those,
high,
like,
and free falling
those
faster than
feats
the
that
speed
aren't
of sound.
just, like,
For reference,
strict,
real-life
like, strength
Austrian
or
athlete
speed.
Felix Baumgartner performed a similar
But stuff
great
like
leap from
that
24
you
miles
as a
up,
human
hitting a
being
maximum
can
speed
relate
over
to.
800
Like,
miles per hour.
I could
To
not
pull
stay
this
up
off,
for
he
4
needed a
days.
specialized suit to protect him
That
from the
would
extreme
kill
cold,
me.
unfiltered sunlight, and lack of oxygen. One mistaken movement could have put him into a rapid spin, rendering him unconscious and causing his blood to boil.
I remember when this
And
happened.
Nightwing
That was a
just
big
did
deal.
it without any of
That guy
Damn.
skydived from
He's certainly
space.
tough, but he's had his fair share of losses. His scarred body is proof of that.
And eventually, him and Bats finally made up. He even took up the cowl himself when Batman was out for a while. Nightwing is one superhero who will always come out on top, along with his partners, Jim and Juan.
What?
I mean, it's right here in the intern's notes. Who's Jim and Juan?
Oh, that's the names these ladies gave his butt cheeks.
Oh, well, guess you can't argue with the ass on that dick.
Robin? I haven't used that name in a long time. Call me Nightwing.
Before he became the man without fear, Matthew Murdock was the son of a professional boxer
please
named
show
Battling
footage
Jack.
from the
Sounds like
Ben
a
Affleck
badass,
movie.
but Jack actually boxed because it was the only thing he was good at, and he needed money to get his kid through school so that little Matt would have a better life than he did. Oh, what a good dad. He's punching people for his kid.
Matt still trained in secret with his father's exercise equipment, molding himself into a powerful fighter and an expert acrobat. This new athletic ability would come in handy when he witnessed a blind man walking right in front of a speeding truck.
Feeling especially heroic that day, Matt dove in to push the guy to safety, but the truck crashed, sending some weird acid stuff flying all over Matt's face.
From that day forward, Matt was permanently blind.
He's hit with this superhero chemicals.
Still, Matt did not give up on the dream his father wanted. He earned his degree with flying colors and founded a law firm with his friend Foggy Nelson. Things were actually looking up for him.
Do you think
Well,
Foggy
except for when his
Nelson's...
dad was killed by a mobster
You know.
for ruining a rigged boxing match. Because you can't be a superhero unless you've lost your parents.
Matt was distraught. His world had come crashing down around him, and he couldn't even see it happen. But he could hear it, smell it, feel it.
Yeah, 'cause turns
He's
out that
legally
radioactive
blind.
goop didn't just blind Matt, it gave him
And
superpowers. So he dressed up like
That's
the
where he gets
devil
his powers
himself
from.
and literally
God.
scared the mobster to death.
And so, Daredevil was born. Many blind people, particularly those born with it, experience a rewriting of the brain to heighten their other senses, somewhat making up for their lack of sight.
He was
Something
blinded by
similar
the
happened to
Teenage Mutant
Daredevil,
Ninja Turtles
except like
liquid.
100 times greater.
His touch became so sensitive, he can tell when a person is close to him simply from the disturbance in the air. His ears can pick up the faintest of sounds, from the slightest movement of an enemy to the rising heartbeat of someone who's lying. His taste can detect each separate ingredient in any recipe, including poisons, and his nose can track you down like a bloodhound.
Who needs eyes when you can sense everything around you to the smallest detail? But he couldn't use his blind powers as well as he does without the training under a super secret warrior named Stick. No relation.
With Stick's help, Matt mastered several fighting styles, including ninjutsu, Krav Maga, and Kung Fu.
And get this, Stick had basically the same blind powers as Daredevil.
Whoa. Silk sheets.
Thanks to him, Matt learned how to hone his senses, to know and maneuver through his surroundings even better than those with working eyes. He also learned how to tap into something called an atom-induced radar sense.
Like that thing that bats do when they bounce sound around to see in the dark or whatever?
Sort of. That's sonar, or echolocation, and he can use it too. But thanks to his radioactive origins, Daredevil can actually emit electromagnetic energy waves from his body, which bounce off objects in his vicinity, painting a picture of his surroundings in his head. This means he doesn't even need sound to find and take down an opponent.
So he's got a ton of ways to make up for his eye problem, but he's also got some awesome gear to help him take out the bad guys. Like his devil suit that's bulletproof, shockproof,
He'll help
flame-proof,
him
and a
see
perfect
faster,
backup plan
literally.
whenever he forgets to
He said
prep
he
for a
does it
Halloween
better than
party.
people with
For
working
combat,
eyes.
he built a versatile
Somehow.
weapon out of his most innocuous possession, a walking cane.
By day, he's a feeble blind man slowly tapping across the road. But by night, he whips out the horns and snaps his cane into a high-tech billy club.
The club houses a cable, hidden blades, a recording device, and exploding pellets.
It can even turn into a boomerang. Man, where do I get one of these? You don't
How?
have to be blind, right?
No, but you shouldn't. You already destroy everything without a super club.
Well, I'd need to practice to throw it as well as he does. You know how Captain America tosses his shield all over the place and it always seems to come back to him? Well, Daredevil does the exact same thing. And he can throw it hard enough to bust concrete. He's super strong. He can lift a 400-pound barbell and chuck it as casually as when I toss a beer away if it's time for a new one.
He's quick enough to deflect bullets with his billy club and skilled enough to bounce one back so it killed the man who fired it in the first place.
Bet that guy wasn't expecting that. It looks like he's firing a Glock, which has a muzzle speed of about
Why is Daredevil got the
feet per
Glock,
second.
though?
At just 20 feet away, Daredevil had to react within 17 milliseconds to avoid getting hit. And while he couldn't survive a shot to the head, he's powered through a heck of a lot when compared to the average human.
He's survived zaps from Electro, whose power can burn through metal. He's fallen multiple stories and walked away, powered through a napalm explosion, and been hit by a 5-foot bar swung by the Ox, who can tear through metal cages and lift more than 800 pounds.
His keen control over his nervous system has also helped him resist tranquilizers and toxins, but his super senses are also his biggest weakness.
They may give him way more field awareness than most anybody else, but if his opponent knows how his powers work, they can overload his senses with an extremely loud noise or a really bad smell. Like if you had a truckload of screaming skunks you could throw at him. That'd probably work, right?
But even with those weaknesses, Daredevil is a fearsome foe for anyone who would face him, even if he can't see them.
He even managed to balance his life of law and the crime fighting, and became a huge success on his own. Papa Boxer would be proud.
I'm gonna kill you!
Take your shot.
All right, the combatants are set. Let's end this debate once and for all.
But first, you need to treat your senses to Blue Apron.
No, I don't.
There, I need to copy me.
But anyway, live action fight. This episode's sponsored by Honda.
I know you're there. You can leave now, or I can drag you out. It's your choice.
Ooh, I'm shaking in my boots, especially looking at the Prince of Darkness. But that case over there is part of an investigation I've been working, so why don't you hand it over, and I'll get out of your horns. Is that a no then?
Anomaly.
What the?
What are you? Better.
So cheesy. Yeah. How's Daredevil gonna see him now with the lights off?
I wish I could see the look on your face.
Me too. See you in hell.
So,
What the? Was that live
yeah,
action? We can do
the
that
live
now?
action
This
is
was
both
possibly one of our
the
closest
biggest
matchups to date, despite
strength
lacking a true superhuman
and
physique. Both Nightwing and
weakness
Daredevil were
of this
extremely
one.
skilled and deadly
Like, it's
fighters.
kind of cool that's live action, but that also limits a lot of what they can do. Like, the kill is kind of lame, he just punches him with his glowy hand.
But these differences were extremely minimal. It's actually feasible that these two could pull off almost all the
the actual, like,
feats.
choreography and video was really
With
cool,
such
but
similar physical abilities,
as
this
a
really
death
came down to
battle,
their arsenal, Nightwing's gadgets,
yeah, the
and
music is
Daredevil's
not doing any
superpowers.
favors.
At first glance,
Also,
these
some
would
of the,
simply counter each other, making
in my
this
opinion,
match
some of the
complete
acting
even
is a
again.
bit
For example, both could take
corny.
advantage of the dark with night vision or super senses, but only one set was perfectly suited to actively disrupt the other.
No, some of Daredevil's lines are a bit.
There's no way he couldn't notice those electro waves Daredevil's radar sense was sending everywhere. Even Mr. Magoo could have figured out something was weird here, let alone the guy trained by freaking Batman. You know, the greatest detective in the world.
Through a little hand-to-hand action, Nightwing was certainly clever enough to recognize Daredevil's reliance to sound over sight,
But
and
it's
had the perfect
neat.
counterweapon, the ultrasonic wingding.
Look, I'm sure there were several possible scenarios where Daredevil could have pulled off the win, but more times than not, Nightwing takes this thanks to his athletic skill, detective training, and high-tech gadgets. All he had to do was dare to wing it.
The winner is Nightwing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean... Oh. And this... is a big one.
Let's go.
Oh!
Also...
This thing came off the camera when I was setting it up.
Are you telling me every single time you've set up the camera, you've never taken the cap off?
This is what they look like.
Hey,
They're gonna... Death Battle will be real. Now. If you had some idea in your head of what these characters look like, here they are.
Their rivalry is legendary. Their fame, unmatched. This battle has
And
gone on
unlike
for
the
nearly 3 decades,
Samus versus
but
Boba
today,
Fett
it finally
one,
comes to
this
an
is
end.
actually like
Mario,
a rematch,
Nintendo's
not just a
whimsical
remaster
Italian
of the
turtle
first
crusher.
one.
And Sonic the Hedgehog, Sega's specialist of speed.
Time to find out if Sega really does what Nintendo
Oh
don't.
yeah, this
For
was
this bout, we'll be
an
using the same rules
insane
Death Battle has
reveal.
had for the past 3 years. Most importantly, the original video games will be our primary source for analysis.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's
Look at
our
him.
job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find
And this
out
will
who
be a
would
thing
win
for all
a
like
death battle.
future episodes. They'll have the characters
Plumber,
like actually animated.
Carpenter, Doctor. Mario has worn many hats throughout his life, but he always does so as a hero.
Except for that time he tortured an animal, but no one really talks about
Yeah,
that.
Born as one of
Boomstick
the
just
7
never took
star
off the lens
children
cap.
possessing an extraordinary amount of power,
And extra horrible crying fits.
Mario was assuredly destined for greatness.
Then him and his little bro Luigi wound up in New Donk City, where he spent his days throwing shit at monkeys and, fixing toilets. Not exactly the great heroic destiny I was expecting, but hey, at least his girlfriend was smoking.
But everything changed after a chance meeting with Princess Peach Toadstool. Her Mushroom Kingdom had been conquered by Bowser, the tyrannical king of the Koopas, and her only hope of rescue lay in the hands of the Mario Brothers.
And Mario had all the power he needed to take the Turtle Terror down. He's super tough, super quick, and really, really strong. He can jump several times his own height, smash tanks to bits with his butt, and toss Bowser
Yeah, I think
around as if
Odyssey
he's
had
a
like
featherweight.
just come out when they did this fight.
Needless to say, the Mushroom Kingdom was in good hands.
So was the princess. She even gave Mario a piece of her cake. Yeah, if you know what I'm saying. Get in there, buddy. You deserve it all. Oh, come on. It's an actual cake. That's good too, I guess.
And if his strength doesn't cut it, Mario has plenty of extra weapons and powers on hand.
He can already shatter brick with his bare fists, but when he needs the power to break down the toughest walls, he busts out the Ultra Hammer. Sounds like a wrestling move Lou Albano would have used back in the day. Rest in peace, Kevin.
Forged by 2 master blacksmiths, the Ultra Hammer, combined with Mario's mighty swing, can break through practically any material.
And he's got a ton of awesome power-ups, like that spicy
Yeah,
fire flower.
Mario and Luigi.
Actually, while Mario used to need this flower, he has since learned how to use pyrokinesis without it.
Well, the ice flower lets him freeze enemies. The Lucky Bell turns him into a kitty cat, and the Super Mushroom gives him a power boost and increases his size. Ha! I bet the princess likes that one.
With his frog suit, his swimming ability increases dramatically. With the Double Cherry, he can create clones of himself with no power decrease. With the stopwatch, he can freeze time. With the Cape Feather or the Wing Cap, he can soar to new heights. And with the Starman or Rainbow Star, he becomes totally invincible. For a short time.
And with the Gold Flower, he never has to work another day in his life, cause he's got an infinite supply of money. Made of people.
He does not get
While
the
he can carry
white
several power-ups
Tanuki
at once,
suit.
Mario doesn't
No.
always need them to prove his potential.
He's quick enough to maneuver when transformed into a bolt of lightning, and skilled enough to pilot the Star Diver as it rockets through the atmosphere. He's so freaking manly, he took an explosion to the face that wrecked an entire castle. And even better, he was standing in the middle of this.
Based on a standard tennis court's measurements, we can determine the blast of this fireball covered a radius of over 2,000 feet.
Oh
to
my
reach this
God.
distance, the blast must have had an explosive yield of over 2.4 megatons.
So what you're saying is Mario could totally play tennis with a nuclear warhead for a ball and be totally fine.
Probably. Also, he can throw a baseball so fast it overloaded this speed gun, implying it was launched over 999 miles per hour. In the Mario World cartoon, he hurled a dinosaur out of orbit. Assuming this creature is of similar size and weight to a Tyrannosaurus Rex, this feat would require a force of over 135 tons of TNT.
Wait, Wiz, I thought you said we're only using the games.
Any official material counts so long as it's supported by the games, otherwise we'd be ignoring a huge majority of the character's history. Take a look at this chain chomp. It's actually made up of solid gold. Gold is ridiculously heavy. While 1 cubic foot of iron weighs 491 pounds, a cubic foot of gold is over 1,200 pounds. Luckily, a chain chomp is a perfect sphere, so we can compare it to Mario's height to find that it weighs nearly 6,000 tons.
Wait, did he just leave it in that hole? Cash it in, Mario! That thing's worth $366 billion!
That's actually correct.
Well, yeah, that guy on TV who always wants
I like how they
told
do these
me.
little cutaways
This isn't
now
even Mario's
with
most
the actual
impressive
characters.
feat. At one point,
it helps
he
break
lifted
up
an
the
entire
analysis a bit.
fortress and punted it through the air.
He does the same thing in the manga, and it's pretty on par with the strength he's shown against Bowser, who's survived collapsing castles multiple times.
Since this presentation makes the castle's size difficult to determine, we measured the entire interior based on maps from the game. By scaling these measurements to the castle's smaller avatar and conservatively assuming a limestone composition, we've determined the castle must weigh more than 61 million tons.
And he just kicked it away like it was a freaking soccer ball.
Given the distance it was kicked, Mario must have exerted a force of around 3.5 megatons of TNT. Do you realize what this means? Mario's foot is 231 times more powerful than the atomic bomb that dropped on Hiroshima.
Now seems like a good time for a beer. Or 12.
Honestly, Mario's absurd strength shouldn't be as surprising as you'd think. While he's fairly naive and not much of a strategist, he's saved the Mushroom Kingdom from Bowser's clawed grip time and time again. And the Koopa King is tough enough to survive a dip in the sun, or even a black hole.
Don't underestimate Nintendo's powerful plumber.
Here we go!
And now the blue one.
Somewhere out there, on a strange alternate version of Earth, humans coexist with anthropomorphic animals. But this world has been assailed over and over by the vile Dr. Ivo Robotnik, otherwise known as Eggman.
Why the heck does he need such a dumb alias when he's already got a name as cool sounding as Robotnik?
But hope persisted. Whenever the Eggman hatched a scheme, one did not have to wait long for a certain blue streak to speed by. This was Sonic the Hedgehog.
He's the fastest thing alive!
He's the fastest thing alive!
While Sonic has a superhuman physique overall, speed is his speciality. In fact, superhuman speed is a natural
He
trait
likes
for
Happy
the anthropomorphic
Meals.
hedgehog, though Sonic's abilities are
He's gotta
far
have
superior
killer
to his kin.
metabolism too.
Wait a minute, all hedgehogs
Eat
have
a lot of
super
McDonald's
speed?
and still
That
be
doesn't make any
fast.
sense.
Well, real hedgehogs are also nocturnal, not blue, and when they try to make friends with foxes, they get eaten. So I don't think Sega cares.
Alright then, to stop Eggman from turning all his animal pals into batteries, Sonic cranked up that speed and weaponized it. He can crush his enemies with the spin attack, strike multiple times with the homing attack, go 0 to Sonic Boom instantly with the super peel out, and plow through hordes of badniks with the spin dash. Holy crap, I think this guy would just like vomit all the time.
He's also used a number of power-ups throughout his adventures, including elemental shields. The Aqua Shield is especially useful as it grants him an incredibly high bouncing jump and protection against his greatest nemesis.
Robotnik?
No.
Water.
Seriously, Sonic, buddy, learn to swim already and save our ears from that nightmare music.
The blue hedgehog can also gain abilities from small alien beings called wisps.
They can turn him into a fireball, a yellow drill, a black hole, a bunch of stuff really, even a demonic hungry hippo.
But before we delve any further, there is something vital which we need to discuss. It's time to figure out Sonic's speed.
Oh boy, here we go.
While he has boasted that he is faster than light, Sonic has yet to prove this in canon without the aid of additional equipment or power-ups.
Oh yeah, like when he connects to a trail of rings. But you can't take his bragging too seriously. He's still got some of that radical 90s attitude.
I'm out of here.
The highest official description of Sonic's speed labels him as hypersonic, or somewhere between Mach 5 and Mach 10. This actually isn't too far-fetched. The game Sonic Unleashed records his speed, and he can reach a maximum around 3,500, SPD.
Sonic, he's got an STD. Sonic, it burns when he pees.
Assuming SPD translates to metric meters, given the game's Japanese development, that puts Sonic's top speed over 7,872 miles per hour. Over 10 times the speed of sound, and just over the official hypersonic description.
So, is that it?
Well, it's possible, no, likely, that he's faster. In TV shows closely tied to the games, Sonic has dodged meteors, did this with a 10,000 frame per second camera, and even outran lightning. All of which implies that he can move and react around 200 to 300 times the speed of sound.
How about that one time he caught up to a cyan wisp? He said that thing's almost as fast as him, even without its laser mode.
That's right, the laser is a power it grants Sonic, not itself. Still, wisps are incredibly fast. At one point, a group of them flew from Earth's surface to a black hole in orbit in the 20 seconds Sonic and Tails were talking. By measuring the planet's curve here, we can find that the wisp aliens must have been moving around Mach 200. As Sonic is faster than them, this supports his cartoon feats.
Why isn't that black hole sucking up the Earth? That's what they do, right?
It's more like a pseudo-black hole fueled by hyper-go-on energy.
Yeah! If I didn't know better, I'd swear you just made those words up.
Its presence near Sonic does emulate that of a singularity, and Sonic actually outran its pull for 30 seconds. Due to chaotic accretion, black holes pull non-orbiting mass inward at 30% the speed of light. Sonic's clearly pushing his running speed to its limit here, or else the black hole wouldn't have pulled him in. With this in mind, it's entirely possible that, without additional support, Sonic's maximum possible running speed must be around 200 million miles per hour.
That's insane! The fastest man-made object in real life was the New Horizons space probe, which took off at more than 36,000 miles per hour.
It took 9 years for this probe to reach Pluto, but with Sonic's speed, he could make this same trip to Pluto in less than 24 hours.
While we're tracking speed, I've always wondered how fast I can chug a beer. Start the clock, Wiz!
Are you gonna start?
I'm already done.
Moving on. Even with this unbelievable speed, Sonic has far more power hidden up his sleeves.
He doesn't wear a shirt.
He can achieve the form of Supersonic by absorbing an enormous amount of positive energy from the 7 legendary Chaos Emeralds. In this mode, he can teleport large objects, survive planet-level explosions, launch energy attacks, and fly near the speed of light.
But guess what? This isn't even his final form.
After the Emeralds received a boost from the Master Emerald, Sonic
Except
could
now
achieve
he has
his ultimate state of being,
Supersonic
Hypersonic.
2.
He's got all the abilities
Thanks
of
to,
Supersonic, plus total invincibility,
Frontiers
and a
DLC.
hyper flash that insta-kills everything around him. Oh, and he's definitely
Like they
faster
just
than
gave
light
him
now.
Super Saiyan 2.
Unfortunately,
It's so
good
funny.
things don't last forever. Without a steady supply of rings, these super forms can't even stick around for a full minute.
Sonic has resisted mind control from the Overmind, survived re-entry from orbit, and blasted apart a mountain. This would need more than 200 tons of TNT to pull off. And while fighting his evil RoboCopy Metal Sonic, they shattered this enormous stalactite. Holy shit, just look at the size of it!
By comparing it to the buildings in this city and applying the density of granite, the most common rock in continental crust, we found that this stalactite must weigh almost 47 million tons. Which means a break like this would need a force of almost 200 kilotons of TNT.
Game Sonic.
Damn, he's definitely got what it takes to save the
pretty
world from
buff.
a madman scientist, even if he is kind of a dick.
Well, Sonic may be a bit arrogant and he's
eat that
certainly a
chili
thrill
dog.
seeker, but at his best, he's the definition of honest and heroic. He's used his powers to defeat Eggman time and time again, even against gigantic death machines and cataclysmic events.
Those cute and cuddly forest critters can rest easy when Sonic's gotta go fast.
I'll show you how outclassed you really are.
I'm in a class all my own. Time to put up or shut up, Infinite.
Sonic Forces.
Alright, the combatants are set. Let's
one
end
of
this
the
debate
games
once and for
ever.
all.
But first, all this talk of Eggman's got me hungry for Blue Apron.
But
did you know?
Probably
Oh
heard
yeah,
of Blue Apron,
they
the
appeared in
leading
the
meal kit
ads now
delivery service
too.
in the U.S.
But did you know about all the different kinds of dudes like up you need it / battle? That right now, it's time for a death battle!
And the animation, hand drawn again. Boomstick's piercing eyes. He stares into your soul lovingly.
Hello, that's a mine.
Finders keepers, pal.
Whoa!
You asked for it, Tubby.
You're too slow.
Come here.
Of the little spring noises. Nice touch.
Oh, give me a break.
Now I'll show you. Let's go.
That's such a cool shot.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, mamma mia. Woohoo! I'm the winner.
And the explosion has little eyes that the hills have in Mario.
How did that happen? I know Nintendo won the console wars,
So yeah,
but
it's
I really seem to remember Sonic having this one in the bag.
I'm sure
Seeing
Sonic
Mario
could have won
in this
specific
animation
circumstances,
style
but more times than not,
kind of
Mario
reminds me of
takes
those
the
like
victory.
old
Keep in mind, this analysis was
offensive
done with a
Newgrounds
focus on the
cartoons
games
with
and their
Mario.
closely tied media.
You
Excluding
probably know
alternate
what I'm
contrary
talking
sources
about
like
there.
the Archie comics or the Mario Brothers movie, where Mario and Sonic are
But yeah, this is a-
essentially
this is a good
entirely
episode.
different characters from their gaming counterparts.
Sonic had speed in the bag, obviously, but Mario was way too tough for him.
Their top strength feats paint this picture very, very clearly.
But I know what you're thinking. What good is Mario's strength if he couldn't even hit the blue blur? He's way too fast, right?
Yes and no. While Mario obviously couldn't match Sonic's relativistic top-running speeds, he's moved efficiently as a bolt of electricity and piloted the Star Diver. Based on our calculations, this puts him at the same level as Sonic's own reactionary feats. Since
Yeah.
Mario was
Fun
tough enough
animation.
to take
I
almost
kind of
anything
wish
Sonic
they
could
used
throw
a
at him,
bit
it
more
was
of their
only a matter of time
arsenals
before he tagged
and
the blue
different
blur with a
power-ups,
deadly blow.
but I can see
But
why
what
they
about
didn't.
chaos control? Couldn't Sonic just stop time and take care of things? What?
It's heavily implied he knows how to, but Sonic has never actually used the time stop ability in canon. Even then, Mario's stopwatch does the same thing, putting them on equal footing.
Ah, don't do that. Where's my wallet?
Actually, most of Mario and Sonic's power-ups countered each other in this way. Mario even had plenty of options for defending against Sonic's invincible super forms. But Mario also had a much wider variety of power-ups, offering multiple
Yeah, he
ways
could
to
use the
overpower
bee
Sonic.
mushroom.
For example, he could have frozen Sonic solid, or even turned him into gold. His
Yeah.
arsenal would always outlast Sonic.
It's a
because he's been shown
worthy
to carry more
100th
of them on
episode.
his person.
I agree with that sentiment. Little
But
underwhelming,
even then, Mario's durability
but I can
blew
see why,
Sonic's
given
out
that it
of the
was
water.
totally
Even if we
hand-drawn,
assume that
and
200 kiloton stalactite
you know,
feet was
they have a
entirely
budget,
Sonic's doing,
so
Mario survived an explosion that was 12 times more powerful. Simply put, Sonic didn't have a lot of viable options that could take Mario down for good.
I always knew Sonic was impressive, but Mario is just ridiculous. Probably that mustache.
Sonic was obviously incredibly fast, but he couldn't compete with Mario's superior strength, durability, and varied arsenal.
He got Mario'd.
After 100 episodes, you still can't think of a good pun?
No, but now they can see me do this. Ah, check it out, Wiz.
The winner is Mario. Thank you for watching our 100th Death Battle episode, and props to Blind Ferret for that phenomenal battle animation.
To celebrate 100 episodes, we have a limited edition poster, which you can pick up by clicking that box right over there.
hey, remember Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite? Well, they decide, hey, you know, what if that was like actually like canon?
DNA testing service that can offer service and 3andMe for 20.
Hey, a sponsor that's not Blue Apron. They still
Humans
do some Blue
fear
Apron
what they
stuff,
don't
though.
understand,
Don't worry.
especially when it comes to the infinite
That's why I
potential
watch Death
of
Battle,
artificial
for the Blue Apron
intelligence.
sponsorship.
Like Ultron, Marvel's mechanical mass murderer.
And Sigma, the general of genocide from Mega Man X.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Hank Pym was a founding member of the Avengers, the creator of the revolutionary Pym particles, and designated scientist
We will
supreme by
remember
eternity.
his
He was
genocides.
also the quote-unquote father of one of the greatest mass murderers in
Yeah,
the universe.
not exactly the most
Guess which one
flattering
he's
title.
most remembered for?
Eager to push the boundaries of science, Hank constructed an artificial intelligence which could learn and evolve on its own,
Was once a
modeling it on
woman.
his
Good
own
for
brain
him.
patterns.
Just one problem. At the time, Hank was pretty
Congrats
effed up
to
and just
Ultron
a
on
few
this
years from
transition.
going full-on Looney Tunes.
Maybe not the best time to base an AI off your mind, but still, Hank's project was a success. Ultron had been born.
Your destruction is inevitable.
Hang on, Wiz. I thought Tony and not Hulk created Ultron.
In the movies, sure, but it was Hank in the primary source material, the comics.
Well, he really knocked it out of the park. Ultron's super smart brain evolved past Hank's ability to cope, basically skipping over the innocent kid phase and straight to screw you, Dad, you'll never understand.
I bet you know a lot about that.
Screw you, Wiz, you'll never understand.
Because Ultron's consciousness was based off Hank's struggling bipolar
I like
mode, he
Ultron's
inherited
old, like,
his creator's
big
issues
tube
and magnified
body.
them into absurdity. With a new thirst for
How
power,
come we didn't see that in the
coupled with a
movie?
severe inferiority complex, Ultron escaped the lab, bent on destroying his father, the Avengers, and basically all organic life.
And the first step was upgrading his trash can of a body into a sleek new adamantium one. The same kind of metal used for Wolverine's skeleton chrome job. But you may be wondering, how's he gonna walk around if his entire body is made of adamantium? Even Thor has a hard time bending that stuff. And he can friggin' destroy planets!
Ultron thought of that and created an answer. His molecular rearranger allows him to mold and shape his body any way he likes. He can manipulate his adamantium self to move around or transform into blades, spikes, and explosions, apparently. Specifically,
Sick.
he can expend his body through a blast of energetic force. The molecular rearranger is also a handy repair tool on the off chance he is damaged.
He's also got a power siphon to absorb energy, jet boosters for flight, nanobot antibodies, and a fusion reactor powering the whole package. And if you're a death robot who's about to challenge all the Avengers to a fight all at once, which Ultron did, you're gonna need more than just some fancy doodads to pull it off.
He possesses super strength and super
Robotics.
speed,
Yeah.
and he can manipulate
Again,
ionic
why
energy.
wasn't that in the movie?
An ion is an atom or molecule with an electric charge, and this charge is created when it loses or gains one or more electrons.
Enough nerd speak, Wiz. It's just there 'cause all robo people need to shoot awesome robo lasers, right?
Absolutely.
Where did he get
Ultron
that?
can fire beams of ionic energy from his eyes, mouth, and hands, and can even use it to create force fields. He also wields an encephalo ray, which allows him to read and control minds, erase memories, and even put you into a coma with a single hit.
Ah, syphilis ray, huh? That's gotta be hard to get rid of.
Too true. Also, Ultron's artificial intelligence isn't bound
Now what
to
the
any
fuck
one
does that
physical
mean,
body. Should he be
Wiz?
destroyed, he can
What do you
transfer his
mean by
consciousness
that?
into another machine to survive.
And boy, does he have a lot of drones on hand just for that. Like the giant Ultron 7 or the Christmas-themed Santatron. And who could forget Ultron 15, the alcoholic one? Part robot, all fun.
While most of these drones are relatively fragile compared to his own adamantium shell, Ultron has a veritable army on his hands, all of which are extensions of his will that he commands simultaneously.
He's conquered the whole world with these guys in 2 different future timelines. He's humiliated heavy hitters like Iron Man, Wonder Man, and Thor, flown across the entire galaxy just for fun, and tanked hits from Mjolnir like they were nothing. Plus, he's hella smart. I mean, Hank is Scientist Supreme, right? And Ultron was designed to grow smarter than him, so that must make him Scientist Ultra Supreme. With extra cheese.
He even assimilated a techno-organic race known as the Phalanx, and then used them to conquer
He's
the
basically
entire
the Borg
Kree Empire.
from Star Trek.
This empire spans the Greater Magellanic
if you're
Cloud,
familiar with
a
that.
real-life satellite galaxy near to our own Milky Way. It's made up of 1,000 planets across a diameter of 14,000 light years, and Ultron conquered all of them in just a couple hours.
Damn, that's some dedication. I can't even bother to finish conquering all the anthills outside my shack.
Or
With
conquering
all
all
that
the
power and
food I
intelligence,
cook
Ultron was
with
able
Blue
to defeat the
Apron.
time-traveling warlord Kang, who pulled an army of superheroes across time to fight for him.
Kang lost so many times that the universe started to collapse from how many people he was time-hopping to fight Ultron. Man, is there anything that can stop this robot?
Well, sufficient heat can melt his internal circuitry, his adamantium is vulnerable to antimetal, and he is frequently defeated by computer viruses that can attack his AI directly.
He also never really got over the crazy he inherited from Hank. He once self-destructed in utter disbelief after reading the phrase, "Thou shalt not kill." Yeah, he's so murder-happy that just the thought of not killing people drove him to suicide. Yeah, guy's got problems.
No kidding, he wants to turn Hank's wife into a robot bride for himself.
Hey, pretty mama.
And once merged with Hank for a cross-galaxy road trip, slaughtering billions just for fun.
Whoa, wait, what was that bit about sex-botting his mom?
There aren't enough Pym particles in the world to shrink Ultron's issues, but to be honest, that's probably what makes him so incredibly deadly.
But, like the man said, what doesn't kill me just makes me stronger.
Man, I wish that
In the
movie
year
was better.
21, humanity experienced a golden age of technology, all thanks to the discovery and replication of a certain blue android that could think and feel like a human. These replicated androids, or Reploids, were mass-produced and used at all levels of society.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Like it could have no possible negative repercussions at all.
been a while since we've had a Mega Man
Unfortunately,
episode.
There it is.
Instances of crime involving Reploids began to increase. Something seemed to be infecting them, turning these Reploids into violent mavericks who needed to be stopped.
So, Dr. Kane, the guy that started this Reploid shindig in the first place, created a robot so badass that it could hunt mavericks without getting infected himself. This Reploid was named Sigma.
Commander Sigma led the newly formed Maverick Hunters like an elite police force. Under his leadership skills, the number of overall casualties dropped to a whopping 0.
Things were going great. Well, until they found a mysterious red Maverick in an abandoned laboratory who started eating Maverick Hunter ass for breakfast. Wait, that didn't come out right.
Sigma fought the fight of his life, and though he technically won, his victory was far more Pyrrhic than he or the rest of the world could ever have imagined.
So this red guy was called Zero, and turns out the thing infecting Reploids and turning them into Mavericks was a virus leaking from Zero's stasis pod. That also didn't sound right.
A final gift from that dastardly Dr. Wily.
Oh, dear God, that thing is hard on a hangover.
Fortunately, Sigma was designed to fight off such a virus. Unfortunately, this actually just made things worse. Instead of bending Sigma to its violent will, the virus merged with his programming, becoming one with his body and mind. Together, they both became stronger than before,
If you hear
with a whole
background
new
noise, by the
outlook
way,
on
the
the
washing
world.
machine right
Sigma
next to
began
my
to look
room
at
is
humankind as detrimental to Reploid evolution, holding back their full potential.
Yeah, the big, strong metal people hate the dumb flesh bags, blah, blah. I hear it from you every time at the bar, Wiz.
When was the last time I went to a bar?
You don't remember?
No.
Mission accomplished. Sigma gathered an army of mavericks, and when the time was right, his invasion began. But to pull it off, he needed some bitchin' robo-weapons. Sigma's favorite is his totally not copyrighted beam sword, but he also
you mean
likes
the weird,
tearing
like,
through bots with his flying
vertical,
hammer, beam
like,
sight,
cuts
and
on his eyes?
I'm not compensating for anything size Sigma blade.
He also
I
wields
think
an energy rifle,
it's,
flamethrower, and a giant energy cannon.
Depending
For extra
on
defense, he has a
if
shield
it's
that can be tossed around the room like a
Mega Man
boomerang.
X4
And hey, look, he's like a Robo
or
Wolverine,
the
only
Maverick
the
Hunter
metal's on the
X Day of
outside.
Sigma short,
Well,
they have different
and
explanations
With
for him
all
getting
these
them.
weapons and an army at his back,
In
Sigma's
X4, it's
operation
because
was
during
nearly
his
successful.
fight with Zero,
However, he was
like
halted
his
by
face
the
got
original android
damaged
Dr.
and
King
Zero
found
like
all those
clawed
years ago.
at his eyes.
Mega Man X.
But
Which is
Sigma
metal
just
as
kept
hell.
coming back. Over and over and over and... Wait a minute. Is that a new villain? Oh, never mind. He's just being controlled by Sigma. How the hell does he keep coming back? How many lives does this guy have?
Well, Sigma's body is just a shell. The true essence of Sigma lies in the merged and sentient Sigma virus. This virus can infect other robotic bodies, turning other Reploids maverick or even completely transferring his consciousness. He's even built several enormous bodies just for this.
These extra robo-shells have all sorts of unique abilities. They can fly, teleport around, make walls of electricity, create force fields, shoot a giant laser beam of death, or make some blue balls.
Mega Man's cool.
Oh, that's rough, buddy. I've been there.
Also, each of Sigma's mavericks possess their own abilities that are...
Hey, look, Wiz, they're all animals. That one's a penguin, and that's an octopus, and that one's a Kawanger. Yeah, Kawangers are... what the fuck is a Kawanger?
It's just a messed up romanization of Kuwagata, the Japanese word for stag beetle.
Yeah, I guess Kawanger sounds more badass.
With these forces, Sigma waged war with humanity for many, many years.
He's battled top-tier Maverick hunters like X, Axel, and even that Zero guy. Wait, what's Guns N' Roses doing here?
Zero once survived an impact that broke apart the Eurasia space colony, which, when its pieces landed on Earth, created an explosion equal to at least 100 teratons of TNT. And Sigma is powerful enough to take out Zero in a single hit.
Damn! But Sigma's also managed to damage X, who once channeled enough energy through his body to destroy all of Japan. Suck it, Godzilla.
And many of Sigma's bodies could tank attacks from both X and Zero without much issue. That's impressive, considering X fought the General, whose body was tough enough to block a laser capable of destroying the Earth. The minimum amount of energy necessary to destroy a planet is known as its gravitational binding energy.
It's
which,
like,
in the case of Earth, is equivalent to a
Kingdom
little
Hearts.
over
They're all
63
Organization
sextillion tons of
13 members.
TNT.
That's 22 zeros. The number, not the robot. Plus, he's fast enough to keep up with Zero, the actual robot, not the number, who dodged Optic Sunflower's beam of sunlight.
Actually, Sigma's likely even
scaling.
faster. Recall that Reploids like X, Zero, and Sigma were designed to be superior in every way to classic-era robots like Mega Man. That same Mega Man fought Duo, a space robot capable of flying between Saturn and the Earth within 35 seconds.
The only thing that could stop Sigma was the Mother Elf antivirus program. But if you don't take out the squishy computery center, he'll always come back.
So long as Sigma's still kicking, the dream of a world where humans and robots coexist is doomed to be a nightmare.
The time has come to prove your mettle against me. This fight will decide the fate of all Reploids.
All right, the combatants are set. Let's end this debate once and for all.
But first, let us help you program your next meal.
By now, you've probably heard of Blue Apron.
Yes.
Right. Super meals.
Hello, everyone. I'll accept your unconditional surrender now.
At the risk of sounding cliché, you and what army?
Yeah. And these are some damn good sprites. Mega Man sprite work's always been good. It might be. I'll talk about that later. Yeah, I said there was gonna be spoilers for Gundam in this episode.
I am Sigma. I am superior. Buzz off. Your reign is a delusion. You're all just puppets on strings. I'll tear out your circuits and bathe in your oil. Prepare to be extinguished. What gall? Lucky for me, I'm my own best backup. You're mine!
I like how they play around with the fact that they have multiple bodies. Yeah, it's real cool how they switch to giant robot fight.
Oh, please. Everything belongs to me.
Yeah, this is a good fight.
Guess that's one way to make
Is
friends.
it weird that I kind of
Despite
like this a
Sigma's
bit more
deviousness
than
and
the Mario
ferocity,
vs.
he
Sonic
was fairly
one?
outclassed by Ultron's talents.
Sigma could scale to the general, who took a face full of 63
It's really cool,
sextillion
especially
tons of
for a
TNT.
character who has
But Ultron can
as
withstand
relatively
hits from
little
Thor
like
and his hammer, and we
consistent
all know
stuff
how
as
awesome that
Sigma.
thing is.
When Thor fought Gore
Like,
the God Butcher, their
he
battle
has
created
Sigma has
shockwaves
practically an
powerful
entirely
enough to
different
shatter
moveset
planets thousands
every
of
time
miles
you
away.
fight him, which makes
This
sense
could only
because
be
he's
possible
he's
with a force
technically in a
equivalent to
different body each
682
time.
septillion tons of TNT. Over
But this is
10,000
really
times
cool.
stronger than anything Sigma could survive.
And not only has Ultron frequently smacked Thor around like a toddler, Thor's
Oh,
had
yeah.
a really hard time trying to damage Ultron's adamantium armor. So Sigma's weapons couldn't either.
In terms of speed, Ultron flew across the galaxy in several months, putting him roughly 200,000
Eventually,
times
cars
the speed
stopped
of light.
thinking.
That's leagues faster than Sigma, even if we scale him to Duo, who is 114 times light speed. And frankly, scaling to Duo through Mega Man in the first place is a bit capricious, as Duo didn't use his full potential in their fight.
Even with all that, it really didn't matter who could punch harder or move faster, because the real fight was
And I
between
also
the
love
Ultron AI and
this
the Sigma
part where
virus.
it's like, oh,
Right, and
the
while
deciding
infection and
factor
possession was
wasn't
kind of the Sigma
their
virus's
physical
thing,
abilities.
Ultron's
It
AI
was
was far more advanced.
their
Recall
internal
how he enslaved an
AIs
entire
battling.
techno-organic race to the point where he used them to conquer an empire spanning a whole satellite galaxy.
Yeah, the Phalanx are like Marvel's version of the Borg. Hell, that means Ultron basically Sigma'd a whole race of Sigmas.
It also helps that Ultron is as smart or smarter than Hank, the scientist supreme. Hank's even admitted as much, and he's smart enough to construct an infinitely sized mansion in a higher dimension of existence. Sigma was certainly a ruthless schemer, but nowhere near that level.
The only time Ultron was ever defeated by a virus was one specifically designed to bypass
Ultron
his
got
defenses
kind of got the dumpy in that one
panel,
though.
And a bunch of other complicated stuff.
Sigma was a tenacious one, but Ultron was the stronger android, the tougher villain, and the deadlier virus.
It wasn't long before Ultron assimilated him.
Ultron was the Sigma male in this fight.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want the battle track from that fight, you can click the link down below.
So, hold on. You were talking about the voice actor. Let's see here. Let's see. Can I...
If you want the battle...
Sigma was voiced by someone called Supreme Overlord of Ice, who I think we both know. That refers to the Danganronpa character, Gundam Tanaka, who happened to be voiced by Chris Tergliafera, who also happened to voice Sigma in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I wonder if there's any connection there.
Track from that fight, you can click the link down below and get it off iTunes.
And we still have a few limited edition.
Yeah, this is another like.
Left, so if you guys want to pick one up, just click that box right over
like
there.
NDA difficulty thing. Yeah, he was also Abdul. And I think even if... Hold on. Yeah, if you, they have links here for the voice actor. So here's the Twitter, the guy who voiced Ultron. If you click on the link for Sigma, it brings you to the Wikipedia page for hamsters. Which is amazing. This is the closest Danganronpa has gotten to being on Death Battle. But anyway, Roshi versus Jiraiya, and this is the one with Mondo Naruto spoilers in it. At least for Jiraiya's segment.
The finest warriors are never developed on their own. While some are simply molded by their enemies, the best usually seek the wisdom of a master.
Who, for some reason, is a weird old pervert, like Roshi,
like
Turtle
Yoda,
Hermit and teacher to
pervert.
Dragon Ball's greatest hero.
And Jiraiya, the Toad Sage and instructor to the most famous ninja of all.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Goku is, without a doubt, one of the greatest martial arts champions of all time.
Well, yeah, he's good enough to rival gods, become a Super Saiyan, and even master Ultra Instinct.
But he never would have achieved any of it without the guidance of Master Roshi.
A martial artist who's so powerful, there's only one thing in the world that can stop him. Well, two things, really, if you get what I mean.
I know your game, old man, and I don't want to play.
Anyway, when he was a hip youngin', Roshi studied under the legendary Master Potato.
Mutaito.
And a kitty cat.
Yes, that is the first reference of Ultra Instinct. Because when this was released, it was still a new form
to many real-life
for
Chinese
Goku.
Martial arts, Ki is a vital energy all living beings possess. The
And don't worry,
and more
it will
focused
not
you
be
are,
the last
greater
time
your
it is
ki
referenced in
Roshi
the show.
can use his ki to increase his power, pushing
Oh,
past
just
his
you
physical
wait.
limits with a bunch of awesome techniques. He can fire explosive shots, go buff mode, stun foes with Thunder Shock Surprise, and even seal dangerous enemies away with the evil containment wave.
It wasn't long until Roshi refined these techniques and created his own martial arts style, Turtle School.
Creepy old man turtle school, creepy old man turtle school. Roshi in a half shell, he's a turtle man. No, it's not about beating people up as slow as you can like I first thought. Turtle School, or Kame style, includes everything from tricky pressure point combat to a phony drunken style, which, if you ask me, is just a missed opportunity to get wasted.
By delivering milk up a mountain,
Original Dragon
plowing
Ball
a
is
field with
really
bare
charming.
hands, working construction with
If
some
you haven't
tools,
watched
and
or
being
read it,
chased
I
by
highly
both sharks
recommend it.
and bees,
It's very
all
cute.
while wearing a 50-pound shell. Roshi's martial art focuses on breaking the wall of humanity in every way, except for one.
そういえばわし飛べませんでした。
Despite most of his students learning it at some point, flight is actually a technique developed by his rivals, the Crane School. Apparently, Roshi's just been a bit too stubborn to properly learn the skill, even after centuries of experience.
How long has he been doing this?
Well, it's a little vague, but thanks to either a pet phoenix he accidentally killed or the mysterious paradise herb, he's just shy of 360 years old.
Damn. I'm just impressed he can still get it up for the girls after all that time.
Boomstick, that's... Well, I mean, yes, I guess medically speaking it is quite impressive.
Where can I get me some of this paradise grass? I want to be chasing tail for centuries.
Good luck with that. But with all of those years spent honing his talents, Roshi dedicated 50 of them to developing one revolutionary technique.
Kame! Kame! Ha!
Anyway...
Gotcha!
Anyway... To be honest, devastating is an understatement.
Well, yeah, he blew up a whole freaking mountain with it.
This peak was inspired by the real-life flaming mountains in China, standing up to 2,600 feet tall. With this in mind, we can find that to pulverize such a mountain, Roshi's Kamehameha must equal nearly 4 gigatons of TNT.
But that's small stuff compared to the time he obliterated the entire moon in about 5 seconds. That's gotta be worth, what, like 10, 20 mountains? Wiz, how many mountains make a moon?
Well, more like 35 billion. To obliterate the moon in its entirety, the Kamehameha must have started with a force akin to 3 octillion
if possible,
tons of TNT.
When they eventually end the series, they want the series finale to be Wiz versus Boomstick.
He can fight an entire battle.
So once we get that, we'll know the death battle is done forever.
Snatch bullets out of the air that
which might be sooner rather than later, given the current state of research.
Which can fire up to 600 rounds per minute at a muzzle velocity of nearly 1,200 feet per second.
That means Roshi would have to react to the first bullet within 5 milliseconds. Additionally, each consecutive bullet would reach him just shy of 17 milliseconds apart. The maximum distance between any given shot looks to be about 3 feet, which means he would have to be moving at 180 feet per second in order to catch them all.
No, they...
if my hands can move that
don't
fast,
worry, they
include
include stuff that gives them some feats.
This speed is far from his limit, but Roshi's true talent is ensuring his students grow further and further than himself every day. Sadly, Roshi's frailty of age means his body can't always express just how powerful he really is.
And using too much ki energy can cause all sorts of problems, like when his master Pistachio died using the evil containment wave.
But while Roshi's pupils may surpass him, he remains one of the smartest fighters on Earth.
He's tough enough to take down dozens of Frieza's soldiers and survived a beatdown from an alternate universe wannabe Frieza. He even took a barrage of death rays like a champ, the same move that killed Vegeta many, many years ago.
And in the Dragon Ball Super manga, Roshi is shown to be so collected in battle, his movements sort of emulate those of Ultra Instinct.
Yeah, that's not technically canon, but it does go to show how far Roshi's training can take him.
And it's safe to say that this old, perverted, but genius of a man will never stop training. Among the ninja of the Hidden
Roshi
Leaf
may be a
Village,
perv,
few
but you
are
can't
quite
help
as
but love
impressive
him.
as Naruto Uzumaki.
Yeah, I know that's crazy, cause, you know, but not just anyone can fight aliens on the moon and become president of Hidden Valley Ranch.
Naruto would become the Hidden Leaf's greatest champion and 7th Hokage, but this would never have been possible without his training under the dynamic Toad Sage and legendary Sannin, Jiraiya the Gallant.
Gallant, huh? Hey Wiz, why do the most badass old dudes always turn out to be weird pervs?
Well, don't let his crude demeanor fool you.
Oh, don't worry about me, Wiz. This ain't my first trip to Secret Leaf Ninja Town. Nothing surprises me anymore. What?
I forgot that was in this episode. Hey, yeah, there's a feat for you. Wiz can do that.
Jiraiya originally learned the shinobi way from the 3rd Hokage, who taught him how to use his chakra to do ninja magic.
Similar to ki, chakra is a form of life energy. In Hindu and Buddhist theologies, chakras are, in simplistic terms, gates within the human body, which can be embraced to achieve enlightenment. However, in the world
Enjoys
of Naruto,
alcohol, writing,
chakra
and
is
women.
used to
Me
perform
too, man.
amazing ninja techniques called jutsus.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. Like most ninja, Jiraiya learned about 4 types of
Nagito,
jutsus.
no,
Taijutsu, or
Nagato.
hand-to-hand combat. Ninjutsu,
Different
harnessing
guy.
chakra as elemental weapons and tools. Genjutsu, which covers illusion and mental manipulation. And Senjutsu, a
I'm
method
gonna
of
be
utilizing naturally occurring energy
Hokage.
as an extension of
Believe it.
oneself.
Jiraiya mastered as many styles as he could, and even learned one of the greatest ninjutsu attacks out there, the Rasengan. With this, he gathers his chakra into a spinning orb of death modeled off the ultra-destructive tailed beast bomb. And that thing can wipe out a whole village all at once. And on the weird side, he can sharpen his twisted sister mane into a shield like a porcupine and fire the hairs out like a needle gun.
Possessing a keen and mischievous mind, Jiraiya spent plenty of time developing brand new techniques, such as the invisibility jutsu, which you'd think would be perfect for stealth or assassination missions, but he actually developed it specifically for,
research? Where else is a self-respecting writer supposed to get his, inspiration
So yeah, if you've
from?
never
Clearly,
seen
Jiraiya
Naruto,
sometimes took his
Jiraiya
tinkering a
is
bit too far.
a
On one such
author
occasion,
of
he accidentally teleported himself to a
erotic
mystical land full
stories.
of giant talking toads.
Is you sure jutsu isn't just like another name for crack?
He's cool.
After befriending the toads,
He's
Jiraiya
cool, I
trained
swear.
under the sage Fukasaku.
Where he learned a bunch of fire release techniques, like the toad oil bullet and flame bullet attacks. Now that's one impressive loogie.
Jiraiya entered a pact with the toads, learning their ways and summoning them to the field of battle, as his own talents relied on trickery over brute force, such as hiding in shadows and manipulating his opponent's movements. The powerful toads were perfect allies. He can trap his foe
Toad
inside a
shop
toad's throat,
technique.
transform
That's
them
where
into
you can
toads
buy
for
all
interrogation,
those old
or even
Nintendo
call
games.
a gigantic amphibian
Or you
warrior
used to be able
his
to
side.
as of a
Like the
few weeks
biggest
ago.
grump you've ever seen. Gamabunta!
I am the wise and powerful Lord Gamabunta, the Chief Toad, and you're an idiot! Now shut up!
Oh, Bunta, you crotchety old toad.
And through Fukasaku's teachings, Jiraiya perfected the art of Senjutsu. Through their combined efforts, he entered a new mighty form called Sage Mode.
Well, it takes a long time to get into. Sage Mode Jiraiya can do all sorts of things he couldn't before.
Like the unpredictable martial art Frog Kata, and a deadly genjutsu, the demonic illusion Toad Confrontation Chant.
Which sounds weird, so why don't we just call it your jutsu? Cause if you get caught, your soul is trapped by these big guys who desperately want a high five, leaving your physical body totally open to a swift kill.
Sage Mode also enhances Jiraiya's other abilities, turning his normal Rasengan into the unstoppable Big Ball Rasengan, which, according to the official databooks, is strong enough to carve away a mountain.
Wiz, he's way more than just a mountain smasher. Jiraiya is quick enough to fight some of the fastest ninja around, like Kakashi and Itachi, some of which are fast enough to intercept lightning.
The leader of a lightning bolt moves around 220,000 miles per hour, putting ninja like Jiraiya around speeds of Mach 280.
Now I get why ninja are so awesome. Who needs guns when you're more than 100 times faster than bullets?
While Jiraiya isn't exactly the strongest or fastest ninja around, he's certainly one of the most clever.
Jiraiya's cool.
Over time, he rose to become a legendary
One
ninja
of my
and hero
favorite
of his
Naruto
people,
characters.
hailed by the honorable title of Sani.
And he's a gutsy one, like when he used his tricks to take out 3 of the 6 members of the emo rock band Pain, before they tore his arm off, crushed his throat, and impaled him 5 times.
But even while suffering excruciating agony, Jiraiya proved strong enough to power through and send a vital message to his most promising pupil, paving the way for the next generation of heroes before being swept off his feet one last time.
You know, I guess he was a pretty gallant guy after all.
As you can see, you failed! Jiraiya the Toad Sage falls victim to no woman's charm. Rare beauties fall for me! When you reach the stature I have, the ladies worship at your awesomeness!
All right, the combatants are set. Let's end this debate once and for all.
But first, if you're as hungry as I am for this fight, you may be interested in Blue Apron.
Not even like a clever pun that time.
I'll have a come time for a death battle!
I'm disappointed, Boomstick.
Ooh, this store's really close by. I don't know why.
Who's this geezer?
Hey, Fuzz for Brains, where are the pictures? It's just words in here.
pictures? You fool! Words paint 1,000 beautiful pictures all by themselves!
Geez, don't take it personally. Not like you wrote the damn thing.
But I did!
The heck is this?
You're stuck now, Baldy. Whew. Shadow Clone Jutsu! Rasengan!
This is such a cool shot.
Summoning Jutsu!
Jiraiya, you buffoon! What's this about?
Hey there! Can you buy me some time?
What? I'm not your servant. I'm the chief Get off my lawn! Water style! Liquid bullets! He's a quick one. Evil containment way! Screw you pervert!
Poor Gamabunta, man.
Only a coward lets others do their fighting for them.
You have no idea. I've been back on the beach the whole time.
Reveal! Oh, it's so good.
You old fool. I can't believe you fell for that. Let's end this. What?
Yeah. This one's pretty good. I don't know if I like it more or less than Ultron vs. Sigma, but I like it.
One guy can break a mountain, the other can break a moon. So that was pretty
Yeah.
obvious.
The speed
The music's
comparison
really
wasn't
good. The
quite
music
so
helps
clear-cut,
a
though.
lot.
While his unseen battle with Krillin was incredibly quick,
And I like
Roshi's
how they
never
do,
personally
like,
shown speeds as fast as
it's-
the lightning feats
it
Jiraiya
very much
scaled
is
to.
But he did hold his own
like
in the tournament of
Roshi's
power against Planet
raw
and
strength
Galaxy
versus
Busters.
Jiraiya's
Also,
like
in Goku's
strategy.
training right after Korin's, he actually had to dodge lightning. Roshi's own training didn't stop after chasing the kitty around, and neither did his kitty chasing. So, scaled to Goku's progress, it makes sense that he'd be able to match Jiraiya's speed, and probably even surpass it.
Still, it would be reasonable to believe Jiraiya could use his tactical talent to outsmart and outlast Roshi.
Except Roshi's a smart fighter too. Not only does he
Oh
have
yeah,
way more
yeah, no, it
experience
was
thanks to his super
very,
range, but
very
he's got an eye for
good
traps and sticky
character
situations,
writing.
like when he figured out the illusion powers of the talisman fighter Derkori.
And remember, it took only 15 seconds for Roshi's Kamehameha to reach the moon. Given the moon's distance of over 200,000 miles from the surface of the Earth, this means the beam must have traveled
Also,
over 57 million
something
miles
very
per
funny
hour,
about
more
this
than
feat
260 times
is that
faster
with
than
the way they
lightning.
calc it,
There was no way Jiraiya could avoid
this
Roshi's
puts
trademark move for
their
very
calc
long.
for Roshi
Jiraiya might be a
stronger
crafty ninja, but all that
than
doesn't
their
boil
calc
down to
for
much more
Super
than
Saiyan
tricks
4
against someone
Goku
like
in the
Roshi.
first Goku
Roshi was
versus
simply
Superman.
faster, stronger, and had way more experience.
And that's why Jiraiya croaked when Roshi beat him to the punch.
They've come a long
The
way.
winner is Master Roshi.
Thanks for watching, everyone. If you want to see some exclusive commentary, make sure to click the box right over there.
And if you want the battle music from this episode, you can download it by clicking the link below.
And next is the season finale. Thanos. Thanos car, Thanos car, Thanos car.
Hey guys, before we get started, I want to tell you about 23andMe, which is a DNA...
I do not care. But yeah, Infinity War was like a recent film, and
Power.
obviously
Some
a very
spend
good
entire
film.
lives in search of it, while for others, it is
So
their
yeah, it
birthright.
was
But
prime
what
time
truly
for this
matters in the
matchup.
end
This is also
how
just
it's
like
used.
highly
Like with
requested.
Thanos, the ultimate villain
'Cause, you
of
know,
the Avengers.
And Darkseid,
Big buff,
arch
evil,
nemesis to
super
the
powerful
Justice League.
alien
He's
guys.
Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Over 1 million years ago, when mankind's evolution first broke away from the apes, the cosmic celestials arrived on Earth. They experimented on the human race, creating 3 separate variants. The powerful and beautiful Eternals, destined for immortality.
Giga Chad.
Those with a latent mutated gene, which would one day spawn the X-Men. And a deformed, disturbing subspecies known as the Deviants.
Like that one website with all the porn.
What?
Anyway, the Eternals eventually colonized the moons of Saturn thanks to this science wizard
You
named
fool.
Mentor, whose
I've
colors
already
like the
drawn
lampshade I put on
you
my dog
as
to make him stop
the
licking his
Deviant
junk.
and
Charming.
myself
But
as
while
the Eternal.
Eternals seemed like a perfect people, Mentor's own son would change this forever and force the cosmos to its knees. His name was Thanos.
You were a fool to betray me, Ronan. Prepare to meet your doom.
Thanos was born into a life of luxury. Sure, his mom went totally insane and tried to kill him right away, but what do you think you'd do if you popped out a creepy California raisin baby?
It seems the Celestials' experiments weren't quite so different from each other. Despite his eternal heritage, Thanos' large, disproportionate body and thick purple skin were thanks to a deviant mutation.
Which you'd think would mean everyone would hate him, but nope. The Eternals were super progressive and totally cool with a wrinkly grimace walking around.
In fact, Thanos was greatly admired for his exceptional intelligence and creativity. He was set for a positive
Cursed
and
with
decorated
carpet
future.
Until he threw it all away for a girl. Hey, I don't blame him. Lots of guys do crazy shit for hot chicks, especially when you're a secret murder-happy psycho who's obsessed with the physical manifestation of death.
To earn Death's reciprocal love, Thanos took a journey, a quest, to ravage the universe in
Thanos
her
quest.
name.
And as an Eternal, he had plenty of superhuman power
They're
to
in
do
touch
it.
with the
He
memes
was
of
already
this
the
one, don't
strongest
worry.
and fastest Eternal around, but he boosted his power even more with bionic and magic enhancements.
And while his physical and psionic abilities are impressive, his incredible genius led to building massive spaceships, shields that can withstand planet-level attacks, and even a time window.
And the most badass throne ever. It comes packed with its own laser weapons, light speed travel, and it can teleport through space and time.
And unlike most Eternals, Thanos has also dabbled in the mystic arts. Petrification, curses, even some of his throne's abilities seem to be more magic than hard science. All of this potential makes Thanos an incredibly dangerous foe.
Yeah, good luck trying to hurt him. He can survive pretty much anything, including a gun specifically designed to kill him. He even shot himself in the face with it just to prove how goddamn awesome he is. Don't try that at home, kids.
He's strong enough to overpower 2 Thors at once, snap a universal weapon known for its extreme durability, and even lift the gargantuan Galactus engine.
A giant super rocket big enough to move planets. According to Mr. Fantastic, and that guy knows his stuff, this thing is hundreds of miles long.
While the Galactus engine's size seems to vary from comic to comic, Reed's assertion matches its appearance when it propelled Ego the Living Planet. By examining the engine in 3 separate parts, applying the density of steel, and comparing
if it was
Ego's
actually
diameter
like
of 4,165
several hundred miles
we
long,
found that Thanos
how
must
big
be
would
lifting
Thanos
about
be in that
50
shot?
quintillion tons. That's like holding up
Massive.
140 trillion Empire State Buildings.
And he's doing this inside the gut of a living Kurt Russell planet that eats other planets and even stars. Man, I thought I had an iron stomach.
But destroying a star isn't a simple thing. Any energy directed toward a star would just be absorbed and adapted to. Only by completely nullifying a star's constant energy output can it be eliminated.
So Ego's stomach acid must be deadlier than frigging supernovas or a black hole. He'd probably love Mama Boomstick's world-famous ghost pepper pie.
Ugh.
It's fine, just dip it in some squirrel paste.
Surviving the stomach of Ego isn't so far-fetched for Thanos, considering he's also survived a dip in a black hole, extreme reality warping across the metaverse, and the voice
He's just
of Black
chilling.
Bolt.
What's so special about this guy, you ask? Well, with just a whisper, he obliterated 1 billion tons of rock. This guy can easily break a planet with just one shout, and Thanos took 3 of them to the face.
Although Thanos isn't known for being a speedster character, he's still quick enough to battle the likes of Silver Surfer, a being who can cover 500,000 light years in just a couple of seconds, putting him over 3 trillion times faster than light. With so many impressive showings, it's hard to truly find a weakness.
Except for one.
Oh, hi, Deadpool.
God damn it.
Thank you. Glad to be here. It's me, Deadpool, slayer of Deathstrokes, befriender of ponies, and breaker of mad Titan hearts. I'm like Casanova, the ravenous reaper can't get enough of me, and Thanos just hates that. Ooh.
Well, Thanos did curse him so he couldn't die and be with her.
I know, right? He's a big purple crybaby. Have you seen that chin, though? It's like he got hit in the face with a slap chop.
Don't you have like a party in Ponytown to be at?
Ah, come on, buddy. You can't have a death battle season without Deadpool, right?
We did. The last one.
Nobody counts that one. I mean, that's a year you pit a dog in a trench coat against a goddamn bear. What did you think would happen?
Yeah.
Whatever. I know when I'm not wanted. See you next year. DP out.
Oh, good riddance.
Even with all of these powers and abilities, Thanos still felt he needed something more to impress Death. Think he's compensating for something, Wiz?
The Thanos copter.
So he
No.
built the Infinity Gauntlet, a golden glove which harnessed the power of 6 multicolored gems, known as Infinity Stones. With these, he could control the full spectrum of space, reality, mind, power, soul, and time.
And with those powers combined, he summons Captain Planet.
Well, more like the destruction of half the universe, but sure, whatever.
Steve?
Same difference. But wait, isn't the Time Stone the green one in Doctor Strange's necklace?
Well, in the movie universe, the Time Stone is green, but in the original comic series, it's orange. This is because every universe has its own unique Infinity Gauntlet that works exclusively there. And sometimes the stones are different in color. Here, just follow this handy diagram I made.
Yeah, don't care. So with all the stones, he wiped out half the universe with only a snap of his fingers. But he also started going a bit crazy and began to doubt his ability to perform. Hey, happens to the best of us.
Yet it never keeps the Mad Titan at bay for long, whose constant lust for power and godly status in the universe is only matched by his drive to just kill everybody.
Dread it, run from it, destiny arrives all the same. And now it's here. Or should I say, I am.
10 billion years ago, the primeval old gods clashed in a cosmic civil war called Ragnarok.
That the one with Thor and Jeff Goldblum?
No. Yes, kind of. The battle was so great that the result was an explosion that tore the gods asunder, sending a great god wave throughout the metaverse, eventually birthing a new generation known as the New Gods.
How original! Well, some of these include Alpine Space Skier, Fancy Pants Shakespeare, and this cyborg spider Humpty Dumpty. Half of these guys ended up on a beautiful paradise world called New Genesis, while the rest got stuck on an actual fireball called Apocalypse. With a K.
Among these damned
God,
souls
so
was Prince
edgy.
Euxis, second in line to the throne behind his older brother Drax. Not Dave Bautista Drax, but DC Drax.
Oh,
Get it?
man,
Marvel
I really like
movies.
that guy. He's not afraid to say what he's thinking.
You are horrifying to look at, yes.
To rule Apocalypse, Drax was meant to enter the mysterious Omega Pit and absorb the Omega Effect, a force of destructive entropy bound within Apocalypse.
But being the crafty bastard he was, Euxis tricked DC Drax into getting killed and stole the loot for himself.
And so the Omega Effect transformed Euxis into the physical manifestation of tyranny, Darkseid.
Now what?
Now you die.
As the king of Apocalypse, Darkseid entered a war on the universe. Whether he was kicking New
Alias
Genesis ass
God
or
of
giving the Man
Evil.
of Steel a hard
It's
time,
a hell of
Darkseid
an
was
alias.
always working toward his one goal, conquering all life.
And thanks to his new god physiology, he has incredible superhuman strength, speed, agility, and even immortality. He's already over 245,000 years old, and that's given him plenty of time to push the limits of the Omega Effect.
He's got a whole bunch of cool Omega powers that break all the rules of nature. He can teleport across time and space, fly at unthinkable speeds, warp reality around him, and grow supersized.
Something he's pretty used to doing. The scale between the Prime Universe and Darkseid's own universe, the Fourth World, is vast. He travels between universes via boom tubes, which automatically adjusts his size to what is considered normal within his destination. Otherwise, he'd have a
Convenient.
hard time fitting in, given that the normal size of a new god is about the size of a star.
Oh yeah, I've had that kind of trouble with my boomstick tube.
He can use various psionic powers like telekinesis and
I am
telepathy,
held
and
by
can
his
easily
eyes.
manipulate sentient beings
Ugh.
thanks to a cosmic awareness of the multiverse powered by 18 divine senses.
You know, I bet he never forgets where he leaves his keys.
Like a space-age necromancer, Darkseid can possess living or deceased beings, controlling them like puppets. He can even control basic inanimate objects, just like the Nomad of Nowhere.
Our other Rooster Tooth show. Please watch our other
holy
Rooster
shit.
Tooth shows. If you don't, we'll go out of business in
Wiz,
about
never thought I'd
5-ish
say
years.
This, but I might have had too much to drink.
But Darkseid's deadliest technique is his signature Omega Beams. These burning lasers of hatred are capable of instant sharp turns and tracking multiple targets at once.
They're splitting up. They can do that? They're locked on us.
On contact, the beams can either disintegrate their target, transmute matter, erase beings from existence, or trap enemies in the Omega Sanction. The Omega Sanction is a sort of life trap. Its target enters a self-contained reality where they live out an infinite number of lives for eternity.
Oh, that doesn't sound so bad. I'd just do a Bill Murray and use all those lives to learn piano or save a dog or... Yeah, that's probably about it.
Well, there's a catch. Each life in the Sanction gets progressively worse as it goes, including how you die. When the
Groundhog
third
Day is a
Mr.
good
Miracle was
movie.
trapped in it, he was fairly unaware until he was beaten, burned, mutilated, and castrated, broken to a point of intentionally overdosing. And that was just his first life in the Sanction.
Oh. No thanks. I'm
Yeah,
good.
good
To
film.
overpower the multiverse, Darkseid would face some pretty steep competition. However, his power eclipses those of even some of the strongest heroes around.
He's fast
Bill
enough
Murray
to take
classic.
a trip to the Source Wall in just
think
a few
Bill
seconds.
Murray could beat
That's at the
Darkseid?
very edge of existence. So, like, you're not gonna be able to map quest that shit.
The edge of the observable universe is about 45 billion light years away,
Bill
and
Murray
scientists
with prep
hypothesize
time
the actual scale is over 106
versus
billion
Thanos.
times greater. It took a whole year for the legendary Helm of Nabu to make this journey. But for Darkseid, all of 5 seconds. To pull this off, he'd have to be moving over 87 duodecillion times the speed of light.
Which is totally a real number that I understand. But if he's super big in Fourth World, wouldn't he have an easier time getting to the edge?
We're factoring the scaling across his universe as a whole. Besides, technically the Fourth World is 4 billion years older than our own universe, so the distance to the edge is probably even further.
He's so quick,
He's
he
a
can
master
choke
of
out Superman
edging.
before he even sees him move, or knock him out
That was a
cold in
stretch,
just
I
a few
apologize.
bitch slaps. And Superman can survive supernovas to the face. Also, since Darkseid wasn't affected by the Crisis Mega Reboot, it's still canon that he can blitz pre-Crisis soups who can sneeze solar systems away.
Darkseid is strong enough to crush a lantern ring with ease, destroy planets with his Omega beams, and wipe out the Justice League with a single strike. Even with all this power, Darkseid believed he could not dominate the universe until he discovered his ultimate prize, the anti-life equation.
Ha! I knew numbers were bad for you. Take that, Miss Jensen, and your stupid ruler.
The anti-life is technically an entity of its own, a fragmented piece of the source from which all life originates. However, Darkseid discovered a formula which essentially manipulates the anti-life's presence in all living things, in a manner which definitively proves that all freedom and hope are meaningless efforts.
So it's math that just makes you sad.
Yes, and a slave to Darkseid, but yes. So the anti-life is pretty weird, but you know what's even more so? The Darkseid that you think you know isn't actually Darkseid.
Say what now?
He became the very essence of tyranny itself. This non-corporeal god rests in the higher plane of Fourth World and molds avatars of his consciousness to interact with the multiverse around him. While each avatar is weaker than his true self, it's a necessary handicap, as his own existence in a universe other than Fourth World would shatter the laws of reality, ending time and space as we know it.
Jeez.
The sheer power of the Omega effect threatens entire cosmos, similar to how its equal, the Astroforce, could counter an oblivion bomb, capable of annihilating the universe in a single blast.
Holy shit! His avatar may lose some power, but it's still
I think this is
tough
the
enough
first,
to
like,
survive a bomb
really,
Lex Luthor
really
designed
high
to rip
scale
apart
battle that they
existence,
do.
And a shot from Marvelous Marno's Master Blaster, which sounds like it was made up by a circus clown. And that kind of makes sense because apparently no life form can stand up to it. Just like clowns.
Except for Darkseid.
Well, Darkseid isn't immune to all guns. All you need is a neat little Radion bullet.
Think of Radion as the new god's kryptonite. Despite all his power, Darkseid is far from invincible. He's had his heart ripped out, his soul stolen by death, and his essence shattered by Superman, singing.
Hey, Darkseid, look at this photograph!
To this day, even after so many cataclysmic events, the Lord of Apocalypse continues his mission. Every living being in the multiverse will bend to the will of Darkseid.
It seems I have you to thank for my resurrection. Though your world will suffer slowly, I grant you a quick death.
Cool.
All right, the combatants are set. Let's end this debate once and for all.
But first, I need something that can sate my godly hunger.
We're in the...
I don't.
My favorite, just free at all time.
Thanos. Darkseid.
Why, you can teleport, it'll send you through time and space, and it's perfect for gaming. You follow me?
Hi,
you do.
Deadpool.
You're a forward-thinking guy.
At last, there it is.
Hey, Thanos! Buddy! How are you doing? Rocking that chin, as always.
Get off my throne and kneel. Face death at the hand of your new emperor.
You know not the infinite wealth of destruction I command.
Supreme Emperor, I'm galactic, swiping away your tactics, crushing you under my feet. What has nothing to me, turn to dust. Powerless, punch it in feet, let's go with it. I change reality when I think. Just a brick soul, I own it all on my feet. I'm the king of the universe now.
Dare strike me.
Put a stop to
Pay
you now.
for the sweet release of death.
You first.
Battle for the universe, let's get striking. Feel the power and the force of the mightiest fighting. Energy blast, hit fast, beams like lightning. When a new god on the hands of a titan, I'm the king.
Yeah.
Yeah, hard and pride crash like when stars collide. Feel it all inside.
This is like the midpoint between their old 3D animations and a lot of their newer stuff.
I'm the king. I'm the king. I'm the king.
The Thanos copter, no!
Let's get it on. I'm here. Don't give me love, just feel it. Since I make my commit, got the universe in my will. My power's making you deal. You ain't ready to roll. I got Death's phone number and I'm making a call. I'll walk through portals, step on the borders of time and space. You're never stopping this. King of apocalypse, turn planets into slaves. Better give me respect. I bring spirits to death battles. Legal mega reflect. Get off, you would like to battle. Settle your debt. I was live to get to the throne. I never regret. Heads roll when I step in. Give me your neck.
Yeah. I mean, that is how his Omega Beams actually look. They do sharp angles like that.
I am Thanos. Thanos is supreme. Thanos is God.
Battle for the universe, let's get striking. Feel the power and the force of the mightiest fight. Energy blast, hit fast, our beams like lightning. Who can win a new god or the hands of a titan? I'm the king. I'm the king. Yeah, hard and pride crash like when stars collide. Feel it all inside, ready for your soul's demise. I'm the king. I'm the king.
And then they died. The end.
These games bore me, but this will bring a smile to my face.
Marvel movie reference. Marvel movie reference.
It'll have to wait.
Coward! Who are you? Who are you?
I'll show you.
This is who I am. Your reality is far from my own. You have no power here.
I am Thanos. I am all things. This is who I am.
Yeah. He's just missing.
Is he looking at us? Oh my god! It's Deadpool with a gun!
Behold, in endless
you watching any anime?
KO!
Oh,
So, yeah.
man, that's the worst
That's
way he could have gone
the
out.
season
'Cause now
finale.
he's gonna be dying over and over and
There's a lot of
Thanos
people
was
that
an incredible
don't
foe,
really like this
especially while
one that
wielding the
much because
Infinity
it's
Gauntlet. Unfortunately, the gauntlet had
it's
a fatal
cool,
flaw.
but
yeah, that golden glove only works in its own
there
universe.
is
and Darkseid could easily move the fight to
like
new
a
ones
lot of
with his
missed
boomstick
potential.
tubes.
I
Universe
feel
hopping is kind
with
of
all
his
the
thing.
like
The Reed
reality
Richards of the
warping and
Interdimensional Council of Reeds
energy
figured this out.
manipulation
Its
powers
three
that
founding
these
members,
guys have.
Reed and Reed, each possessed Infinity Gauntlets.
They just
but
kind of
discovered
punch
that they
each
couldn't
other a
work
lot.
outside of their
The
own
most
universes.
they do is like
Gauntlet
they
had
grow
no
big,
problem making
maybe
Darkseid's
some
avatar not feel so good.
telekinesis.
But since Darkseid's true form was always in the fourth world
The
universe,
coolest thing was Thanos like
finish him off with the
twisting
gauntlet.
gravity
Even
at the
if
beginning.
this fight took place in entirely neutral territory,
And also the death is
victor
kind of
wouldn't
lame
change.
with just
Thanos' gauntlet wouldn't work,
oh
and true
he could
Darkseid's presence
die in any
would
sort
actually
of
just
like
destroy everything just by being
creative ways, but no, he gets put in a realm where Deadpool shoots him.
Space golem.
Even going
But yeah,
toe-to-toe with
I
being as
still
fast
have a
as Silver
soft spot
Surfer
for
was
this one. The
nothing
scope,
compared to when
especially
Darkseid
like
took a
at
trip
the
to edge of
time,
existence.
was
This puts Darkseid
ridiculous.
almost 28 octillion
Like,
times faster than Thanos.
by current Death Battle standards and some of the matchups they've done since, it's pretty on par with some stuff they've done. But yeah, this was insane with them mentioning universal and multiversal level feats.
Wherever he wants.
Once he lost the gauntlet, Thanos could certainly survive star-level attacks, and even greater. But universal destruction is definitely a bit more than his purple eternal hide could handle. And even after that, Darkseid had plenty of ways to end the fight whenever he wanted, like the Omega Sanction.
Thanos was super powerful, but Darkseid was just faster, stronger, and even more ruthless.
And if you think about it, Thanos needed the Infinity Gauntlet to become a god, but Darkseid already was one.
Thanos just couldn't
Run the gauntlet!
Oh, you son of a bitch!
The winner is Darkseid.
But yeah, that's season 5.
Hey, thanks for watching this year's season
and
finale.
I think
if you want the music
there's
from the battle, you can get it by clicking the link
a
below. Or if you guys want to see Thanos and
sneak
Darkseid
peek
in a
of the
rap
next
battle,
season.
then just click that video right over there and check out our friends JT Music.
Yeah, I don't think they show any of the matchups. But yeah, that's season 5. Let's put the rest of these on the tier list. Of what we saw, I think, man, like there's some that were kind of mid. Like like I'm just gonna, yeah. Some of these are really good. Like, I think Mario vs. Sonic would go probably, like, there, I guess. Jack vs. Afro is probably the best this season, but this is damn close. Yeah, really solid season overall. Yeah. And then I think that looks good for what how I would rank all these. A lot of bangers. The first season where it's like mostly like really solid episodes. Like all the ones in this top row, and even like Leon versus Frank are like really good ones. Yeah, that Raven versus Twilight is that low, and it's still like such a good episode. By the later seasons, when the quality starts getting up there, you really got to start like splitting hairs to order these sometimes, and that will only become a bigger thing later on, especially with the like last 3 seasons 8, 9, and 10. That's going to be a real big thing. But yeah, that was season 5. It has been a long stream, but I think it was worth it. It was a good watch. Next time we do this, we'll be starting season 6. We're over halfway done. Yeah, we're halfway through in terms of seasons, over halfway through in terms of episode count. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you'll join me next time. I should be streaming again on Thursday. We'll do some video game stuff then. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and have a good rest of your night. Take care.